Yeah, he certified mailing it one day to the office. Yes, no problem.
¿Cómo estás? Bien, gracias a Dios. Está bien. O sea que, fíjate, gracias. Yo soy yo creo en Dios y creo en lo que yo hago. No hay problema. Por mí no. ¿Ya ves qué dice? No dice nada.
Testing, 1, 2, testing. Good evening and welcome to the City of Avenal City Council meeting. I would like to remind everyone, this is a city council meeting today to conduct city business with the community, not a community meeting with council. So for that reason, I will ask you to be respectful to each other, to please follow the protocol and please do not interrupt. And there is a time for public comments, for closed session items, also for public comments. And I will try to do a speedy meeting. And I would like to ask you to please silence your cell phones and also please listen to the agenda. With that, it is June 26, 2025. We apologize for the agenda that was set April 10. But I believe now everybody has the correct agenda. June 26, 2015, the time is 5:34. So with that, I would like to call the meeting to order. And would you please stand with me for the pledge of allegiance? Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you again and welcome. And it is nice actually to see the community engaged with the way the community is moving forward. I will ask our city clerk to please do roll call to make sure we do have a quorum.
Councilman Reynosa,
Here.
Councilman Verdugo,
I'm here.
Councilman Hernandez,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gomez, Mayor Preciado.
Here, for the record, we have everybody present. With that, would you also read the statement?
Government Code Section 54952.3, the members of the City Council successor agency are entitled to receive a total of $450 per month due to their serving on the City Council. They receive no other compensation for serving as a member of the successor agency.
Thank you. With that, we'll go into item number 3, which is public comments, announcements, and unscheduled appearances. Would you also read the statement?
This is the time is reserved for members of the audience to address the city council on items of interest and that are not on the agenda and are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. State law prohibits any of the city council from commenting or acting on matters not on the agenda. There are asks that you keep your comments concise and positive.
Thank you.
A creative criticism presents with appropriate courtesy is welcome. Each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes and a timer will be notify you when your time is expired. Please begin your comment and state and provide your place of residence.
Thank you again. And with that, we'll go into present our new employees, which is the summer community activities staff. And I believe Nalara will take this into action.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Manager. I'd like to present to you this year's summer staff. We have Cynthia Nieto with us, Caleb and Isabel. So Cynthia and Caleb both are returners from last year. We have Cynthia who heads our social media pages. She does all our outreach for the program. For scheduling all the summer activities. Caleb is just a ball of energy. He shows up, he keeps the kids busy. He was in the pool all day yesterday with the kids and then probably came home and still went to football practice to go help train. And then we have Isabel who comes to us with educational background. She's a substitute teacher for the Recenza Unified School District. And she's been cooking with the kids and doing crafts and keeping them busy. That's our summer staff for this year.
With that, now we'll open public comments. One more? Oh, I'm so sorry for that. We do have another item, which is to present the new employees who are the summer community activity staff, and I believe insurance.
Okay, good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Manager. Today we are excited to introduce our 5 selected interns for the City of Avenal's 2025 Summer Internship Program, the 4th cohort. This program was created to support our local youth by exposing them to professional opportunities in public service and helping them develop valuable workplace skills. Our goal is to empower the next generation of leaders, especially those who are passionate about giving back to their community. This year, we received 15 applications, making the selection process a bit more competitive. We carefully selected individuals who demonstrated a strong commitment to community involvement and personal growth. Throughout the summer, each intern will rotate through multiple city departments, including public works, administration, finance, rec, animal control, and more, to gain firsthand experience, explore the interest, and see how each part of the city works together to serve our residents. At the end of the program, the interns will present a final community project that reflects what they learned and how they hope to give back to the community. We are also proud to share that this year's program received generous sponsorship from A&M Engineering, Mid-Valley Disposal, and the Public Interest Law Firm, which helped cover the stipend for one of our interns. We are deeply grateful for their investment in Avenal's future leaders. And now I'll let our interns introduce themselves.
Okay. One by one.
Hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Marino. I am a recent graduate from the class of 2025 from both West Hills College Kalinga and Avenal High School. Upon hearing about this opportunity, I was intrigued and wanted to learn more. And as I researched more, I decided to apply for it. And I'm very interested in giving back to my community. This community is the only place I've known as home since I was raised here in Avenal my entire life. I am proud to be a part of this team and give back to the community that I love. I want to know that by the end of this intern, I have given it my all that I could have. And I plan to further my education by attending Fresno State this fall, and I'm gonna be majoring in biochemistry. I can't wait for the future, but I know with this internship, whatever skills I gain, I will carry on with me for the rest of my life. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Damian Blanco, and I'm excited to join the city of Avenal as an intern. And I am a proud graduate of the class of 2025 from Avenal High School, and with the passion to always wanting to serve my people and my community. And I'm just grateful that the city chose me, and I am honored for that. So this opportunity lets me combine the way I grew up around y'all, around everybody, and my desire to help everybody in this city grow, to bring more awareness to what goes on here. And And my goal is just to bring something fresher to the city, a new energy. I just feel like everybody's the same. And I always felt different. So I just want to be able to help those that feel different. So, and I already knew I had these skills, but working for the city helps me sharpen them and actually use them. So I know I'm basically, I kind of getting stuck right now, but I'm getting good at public speaking. Like this opportunity is giving me better way to sharpen my skills. So, and my future goals is to go to trade school and go to university after, so I could be a white collar and a blue collar worker. Thank you, each and one of you, for this opportunity, and I promise I won't disappoint. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cecilia Melendez. I am currently serving as an intern for City of Avenal. I am very excited and interested for this opportunity to see more about the city, to learn more about the city, and to see how decisions are made and how the city comes together to come up with city comes together to get the city runs smoothly. I'm currently studying to get a degree in business in Lamar College. And this opportunity is great because it relates to what I'm studying. My goal is to grow my communication and always be there to assist others. Thank you. I look forward to learning more during my time with the city. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Hernandez. I just recently graduated this June and May from West Hills Kalinga and from Avenal High School with my AA in plant science. In the fall, I will be attending Fresno State for a major in criminology and a minor in philosophy. I've always been very involved in my community, not only just for volunteer hours, but on my own free time, because I've always been very passionate about it, and this is an opportunity to just grow more into that community and become more involved, because it's different departments, it's different experiences, and honestly, so far, it's pushed me a lot out of my comfort zone. Honestly, it's a lot more than just work experience. It's also personal growth, and I really appreciate that. And further on, I do hope to become a lawyer, attending law school, and then one day come back here and give back to the community. I think that's what's most important, to not forget where my roots are. And I'm very grateful for this experience, and have a good evening.
Hello, everyone. I am Diego Celis. I am very grateful to have been selected as an intern for this summer. I am also a recent high school graduate, class of 2025. I am attending West Hills Community College. This year, I'm in summer school, and I will be attending fall. I plan to transfer to UCLA and complete my last 2 years of university there, and then attend UCLA Law School and graduate and become an attorney. I've had a lot of fun in these past 2 departments. I've been in finance and now I am in code enforcement, and it has been so much fun in both. And I am thankful to all of you for this opportunity once again.
Well, I just would like to welcome each one of you. I believe it was a tough process. I believe the city received 16 or 18 applications, 15 applications. So out of the 15, five were selected. I didn't run that operation, but I believe that you guys are going in the right direction. Public service is very difficult, but both. I also seen some of you, I believe some of you are also recipients of the Rotary and Avenal scholarships. I believe that happened Wednesday night here at the theater. So I condemn you for all the work you guys are doing and wish you the best in the future. Also the summer program, some of them, like Anna mentioned, they're coming back, but every year they've been actually doing an excellent job. And we're looking forward to continue that collaboration. And I'm glad that the city was able to fund these programs because they make a big difference in a small community like ours, connecting graduates, people going to college, coming back, giving back to their community. I believe that's the goal of every city, working together, being united. Thank you. Thank you much.
Yeah, absolutely. And do want to, congratulate each of the candidates. The interviewing process was very difficult, but we try to find a mix of students who show a lot of promise and potential of wanting to give back and serve their communities. And eventually, hopefully, that they do come back. As the council is well aware, we have had two of our summer interns able to return, Noah Naranjo and then Carla Curiel, who's been helping quite a lot at the city. I mean, they've been managing and helping a lot with the summer program this year with the summer interns. And as you can see, they've helped in a wide variety of things in the last 2 weeks, not just in the food distributions, but also the town hall meetings we've had. They've been at animal control. We even had Damien, who was out there hot patching. Yep. So, and I think they've had a lot of fun, and it was just the beginning of the summer, so we'll still have them for another month and a half. So you'll be seeing them around quite a bit, and just want to thank Carla for helping manage and scheduling all these kind of jobs and working with each department. Something a little different. We've always kind of had them do project per project, but now we're trying to give them experience at every department. I think that will help them out in the long run. So.
Yeah. And lastly, the city is grateful for your volunteer volunteerism initiative that you guys have. But just remember that this is the vision that the city has to give you the tools to go and succeed in the future and hopefully be able to provide not just for your city, but for your state and for your nation. That must be a must for everyone. Thank you for your service. With that, we'll thank you again. So now we'll open public comments. So please come to the podium and
Dalila Barajas.
We need to what? Oh, fresh batteries, okay. Is that gonna take on my time? No.
no.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I don't want to scream. My name is Dalila Barajas. I am a United States citizen and a registered voter. I reside here in Avenal, California. Ms. Ortiz, City Clerk, is there a way that I can? And they're in order. The names are at the top.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a notice of intention to circulate recall petition that you now have in front of you. Mayor Prasado, Mayor Pro Tem Gomez, Council Hernandez, and Council Reynosa, you have been served. The citizens of Avenal, the grounds for the recall are as follows. The citizens of Avenal have decided to revoke their vote due to the lack of transparency, accountability to the public, and duplicitous behavior leading to the failure of the city councilors to represent the best interests of Avenal citizens. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So,
Julie Moran.
Julie Moran, 801 North Fifth, Avenel, California. I've been a resident, and I'm not going to give away my age, but 60 plus years. The city has been so disingenuous with the county in dealing with the fire contract. And now they've forced it into the next year's budget, which we probably won't have a chance to even discuss.
would you please get closer to the mic? I think you're too far.
Can you hear me now?
No.
I do want to say that I apologize to several council members for yelling, and I'm so emotionally involved to this because I see somebody wanting to create their dynasty and taking away our safety. Several things that are not in the budget tonight, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are the revenues. The revenues of this city, the landfill host fees have more than doubled. And that's not even on this budget that you want to put out. Your measure A was severely understated previous years. And I look at others and it needs to come up quite high. Probably double too. It is more than enough to pay for what the county has coming at with the fire. More. But you have certain pet things that you guys want to provide the city. We want safety. And you have not listened to us through several meetings. And unfortunately, the recall begins, and I apologize that we have to go through that. And I apologize that we get emotional because we all want what's best for this community. But the agenda that you guys have is not on this budget. You have undercut so many things and not shown these council members how can they even make a decision if they don't even have actuals. And you know what I'm talking about, Tony, and you need to provide them with that. And the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Frank Lopez.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Frank Lopez. A couple things real quick. I did want to maybe ask if there would be a possibility with what's going on with the ice raids, kind of starting here in the local community. Luckily, there hasn't been any here in town. I have heard that there was possibly some, and maybe those were misinformed. However, because some of the ICE people are coming without their uniforms or coming in that way. I know that can really scare people and maybe make people evade wanting not to be snatched or like have a home invasion when you don't know who's just driving up to your house and trying to jump in. So I did see that there was folks from different law enforcement stating there wasn't a raid, there was other kind of police functions going on. And so maybe if the police can do that in this city, if there's ever a full-fledged ICE raid here in town, I certainly hope not. I brought this up before in other meetings, so it's not something that's going on, but it is what's going on in our world. I did also was at Rotary and wanted to just share and thank the city for also participating with their scholarships that the kids received. It wasn't just Rotary scholarship, but it was also city scholarships. And the other thing I wanted to ask, but also say, is I wanted to thank Mr. Verdugo for having tabled the contract at the last meeting. The reason is because it gave a chance for our supervisor, Mr. Valley, to speak at last night's town hall and explain that there's a property contract from the 90s with the city and that they've been taking that money. And as he said, that's their money, apparently. Our property tax money is their money, which I thought was a little awkward. But I was hoping, Mr. Verdugo, because I know you've always been really focused on keeping our fiscal house in order. And I did vote for you, so I'm totally happy with what you've been doing. But I would like for you to maybe ask either Mr. Valle or the county for a copy of that contract, because it's a 30-year contract. We don't know what it is in particular. Apparently, Mr. Valle thinks that's his money, but it is the residents and the homeowners of this town's money. And so I would ask you to do that so there's clarification, because the real bill for the fire service this year was $1.4 million with the property tax added into it. That's the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments.
Sheila Verdugo.
Sheila Verdugo, 208 South Corcoran Avenue. I know, a little small. So just, I have a couple of comments from last night's meeting, just to let you know the translation was not available on Zoom. And so there were several people that were asking if maybe if we did this again, maybe there would be translation on Zoom. Yeah, I know you. And then there was a young lady that was translating last night, and to my understanding, it wasn't the greatest translation, but the young man was really, really good. So I'm just giving you some feedback. And the English speakers, when they got up, to my understanding, they weren't translating to the Spanish speakers what the English speakers were saying. And so I think maybe we should probably make sure that everybody is understanding every side of what's going on, right? And then I just had an idea about the county proposal, right? It was a 3-year contract, I believe, and yes, it increased. And I wish somebody would do the math for me, because I'm not understanding like how much you're saying it's increasing when I'm trying to do the math according to our property taxes that we're told that we're getting about 472 or something property taxes. And then we had 450 coming out of the general fund. And then the contract was coming in just right under $1 million. So it seems like it's more like $250,000 of an increase, not 6 or 8, or there's been so many numbers going on. I don't know. I'm not a math girl. You guys all know that. So just if somebody could, at some point, I know you can't do it here, but at some point, make me understand or help me understand where we're getting these numbers at, right? We're getting these double, triple, and I don't know. I'm trying to do the math, and it doesn't seem like that much. But, and then the last thing would be just an idea of like maybe, because it doesn't seem like we're really have given this complete thought, right? We started off with wanting a volunteer, then we kind of went to this model 2, If we could maybe just sign that contract for the 3 years, right? Just sign the contract for the 3 years, keep that county here, but that gives you 3 years, council, 3 years to make this right, to completely think it through, find the funding that we can't rely on it. And we said this last night, we cannot rely on grant money. We have a building sitting out there that started with grant money, right? And we didn't get to complete that with grant money. And it just goes to show you that grants aren't there consistently. We hope that we can find them, and we have, I believe, some grant people now that are doing a great job, but it's not, so if we could just sign that 3-year contract, give the community peace of mind, and then really work on a budget.
Time's up.
Thank you for your comments.
Teresa Pierre.
Good evening. My name is Teresa Pierre, 912 Fremont Street, obviously Avenal, California. I've been coming to every single meeting, not by choice, but by fear that if we are not here, certain people with certain agendas will move forward regardless of how certain people feel. I'm speaking on some things yesterday. I was here missing out on important things in life to be here. Last night, Tony mentioned several times about needs of the community, needs, and it just made me think needs versus wants. We all want things. We all want things for the kids. We all want this, that, and the other. But what we really need is our fire department. We really need you guys to slow down, slow your roll, and come up with something that is acceptable to everybody, not just a certain group, but everybody. And to me, and common sense, that is, like Sheila Verdugo mentioned, sign the contract, slow your roll. Let's avoid the hiccups. Let's see, we had a speaker last night, Ruben Valdez. I just want to mention, he made a mockery at us about our ambulance service that we had such pride in. We had such pride in our ambulance service, but yet we let that go. We didn't replace our ambulance service with housewives and Band-Aids and bottles of peroxide. My last thing that I want to ask or bring to the table is the fact that the equipment, those lovely slideshows of the equipment, doing some investigating on that and looking at it, that equipment is marked sale pending. I'm really concerned that we might have missed out on those gyms, or is that sale pending through us? Have we already, made intent? Have we once again put a cart before the horse? Everybody is begging you guys to slow down. Slow down. Stop. Think about what is the safest, best way to move forward. If this is your plan and this is what you are so intent on doing, avoid the hiccups. Do it right. Do you guys really want I told you so's from the entire community? Do you really want more people looking at you as a failure, as an embarrassment, as people that don't know what they're doing? This is our community council. We elected you. So work for us, not yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments.
Ron Moran.
Thank you again for having us. Ron Moran, 801 North Fifth, and just some concerns and some things maybe to think about as a council. I appreciate the council, the mayor, and city staff allowing us some time to voice our concerns. I was on Planning Commission several years ago, and what happened in my time there, of course, you're appointed to that position. It's not elected as you city council people are, but it was a group nonetheless that I learned a lot over the years that I was there. I figured I could bring something there with my business expertise of being in business with Avenal Lumber for 42 years. So being on that board, it was during the time that, I'll tell you how far back it was. It was during the time that this theater had burnt down the last time. So there was a decision to be made what to do with the theater afterwards. So what I did was, one of the things I brought up in Planning Commission, I was serving at that time, is I said, I started off with, and this wasn't a decision that was made yet, but I started off with, hey, let's tear this thing down. Let's go ahead and haul it all to the landfill, because at that point in time, there was asbestos in the walls and things, and we were in a period of time where that could all be disposed of very cheap and very easily. Let's make a parking lot down here. Well, what happened was I went out. We didn't make a decision right there and then. I went out and I talked to the citizens of the community. And what they did was they shared with me, no, we need to have a theater. And I listened. I listened to the people of the community. And even though maybe it wasn't the best business decision in the world to be able to keep this, because it does cost to turn on the lights and the AC and all those things, I see now, standing here in this beautiful Pegasus room, that I made the right decision in saying, yes, let's keep the theater, because it was the best decision for the people of Avenal. Even though it wasn't my own personal best decision as a business guy, it was the best decision for what Avenal needed. And we're blessed to be able to have this today. A couple other things real quick. We've got a budget of 800,000 plus to be able to run our fire department. In my estimating and my figures, and I'm not a professional at doing this, I think it's going to be closer to 2 million. And what do you base that on? I base that on, I'm hoping that all the city council will go out and do their homework and ask questions. Coalinga's fire department, they have their own fire department over there. Their budget is $3.5 million a year. And that's why I'm assuming our budget would be probably around 2 million. I'd also like to say just real quick that the Kings County Fire Department budget, if we do the math on it real quick, for all of Kings County fire departments, $21 million a year. Divided that by the 10 fire stations we have, that's $2.1 million per station. Well, guess what? The county's only asking us for $1.1 million. And boy, that seems like a smoking deal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Ted Walk.
Ted Welk, hello. I just had a comment about a closed session item. It's 11B on the agenda, Personnel Government Code 54957B. Consider public employee performance evaluation for the position of city manager. And I don't know what that means exactly, but I was looking it up. That agenda item has been on the closed session for every city council meeting since the beginning of January, except for one session, I believe. So I'm curious. And again, I know you can't answer here, but I'm thinking it just seems curious that considering the performance evaluation of the city manager happens every single closed session for every single council meeting. And I'm just not quite understanding what that is, but I just wanted to point that out. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ginger Wallace.
Okay, so I haven't been speaking this whole time, but last night there was something said in the town hall meeting about these gentlemen back here not being medically trained. Okay, what you guys need to do is sit back and think. Their fire chief presented a packet, held it up. You seen how thick it was? That's how trained they are. Every one of these guys are medically trained. Take a look, ask them for their profiles. They'll show you how trained they are. They do training every day, whether it be out in the field, on the computer, at home on their days off, or traveling to do training. You guys need to stop and look and quit degrading Kings County Fire and saying that they do not have the training. And for Ruben at the town hall meeting to make a mockery and act the way that he did and thinking that he knows more than them because he has 36 years of training or been on the job for 36 years, it doesn't matter how long you're on the job because he was an EMT before he became a firefighter. He worked for Avenal District Ambulance as an EMT. These guys, I've seen them work and I've been out there. They are well trained, more than you're going to get anybody to start your own fire department.
Thank you very much. Daniel Verduzco.
Hello, everyone. I got a couple comments from last meeting and add a couple more. I agree, complete 100% in B, option B. I asking instead fighting too much. Still, I've been asking every single time, getting all together and getting a solution. We're not fighting. And about the professionals here, I agree, like way over professional. Perfect. My job is hazardous waste. I do house whoppers, asbestos, lead. My book is like that too. So in one point, everybody has to be learn new experience, new people. I agree. I'm operating heavy equipment too. They talking about the bow like that bulldozer. No, it's time and it's little by little. Everything is possible, complete. When I signed the papers, when they people told me sign because they want to remove the fire department, I go like, no, we can't do that. I signed it. I said, no, I want the fire department to stay. But nobody explained to me, or a lot of people outside, they say, hey, this is a process. I agree in a process, 100%. And I want to sign the contract, but one way to get out. Anytime, 3, 6 months, 8 months, I don't care. But just find a solution. We want to grow in this town or we want to backwards. So we can go back to live in Cameron City. There's got more jobs than here. I can work in Taco Bell and forget about all the hazardous waste and driving so much. They mention like the police department. They say every time somebody show up, it's different. Yes, but somebody show up. Somebody is there for you. Believe me or not. I don't try to be respectful.
Please be silent.
I don't try to be respectful for nobody. But last night, I totally disagree. A couple persons, really bad words, touching some personal parts by himself. And I want that person or give you a warning or don't show up at any other meeting. Because if right now I pass in the middle and say bad words and touch my private, you probably kick me out. I don't want to see nothing like that again because I got my son here. It's underage still. Look tall, but still, it's a teenager. Thus, I agree 100%, and it's more to talk about it, but it's time is over.
Thank you for your comments.
Jose Arias.
How you guys doing? Good evening.
Good
My name's
evening.
Jose Arias, Avenal resident as well, right? Been here on and off since 1996, right? Went to school here, graduated from Avenal High School. Came back to this town. I love this little town. Again, I understand that there's a process to this. I agree, we should keep the Kings County Fire Department signed the contract for the 3 years. But again, like the gentleman said, we should have a way out of that contract. We should have a way to negotiate a price year by year, right? But I also, you know, talking about last night of like Measure A, the Avenal general fund, right? So I understand the frustration of some of the residents on how some of the business has been handled through the city. I get that. I agree. There should be every year, we should have the city be audited. I don't disagree with that. I agree with that. We need that transparency. We need to see that, right? But I also want the citizens of Avenal to understand what some of the residents are trying to do by doing this recall, right? They're trying to talk about, let's save money, let's the money for town, the money for this, the money for that. You guys got to understand that by doing this recall, it's going to cost the Avenal citizens $175,000 to $300,000 to hold this recall. I would like to, you know, go with a higher number because let's be realistic. It's not going to be that. But everybody on Facebook keeps posting about doing the recall, and I get it. I understand. Hey, if that's what you want, go for it. But let the citizens know of Avenal that it's going to cost them money, and it is going to come out of the general fund. Okay? So don't just be like, oh yeah, I get it. If you want to do that, then do it. But let the citizens know, everybody that's signing, what it's going to cost and where is it going to come from.
Order,
You know what I mean?
You've been out of order, Dalila.
67,000, 80,000, that's coming out of the general fund.
Take care of that, please.
So, you know, and so just so you know that's what the citizens of Avenal should know. So, and then one other thing, maybe I didn't have enough time for say this, but again, I would like to bring to the city council, please look into adding additional lighting to the city. That's actually one of the things I wanted to talk about for new business. Please look into that. I know that's also going to cost money, but it's actually also something we need. And again, let's get the process going. Keep the Avenal firefighters, Kings County firefighters. And like Sheila said, hey, we have 3 years to make a budget, create a budget, create something that explains to the citizens of Avenal what is going to cost to maintain our own fire department.
Mr. Arias, your time is up.
Thank you for your comments. I would like to ask, please stay in order, please. Well, you don't have to leave. We ask for respect each other. When you guys talk, nobody interrupted you. Nobody was having a side conversations. So please respect each other. Those are the rules. Like I mentioned at the beginning, this is a city council meeting to conduct city business with the community. But please do not act like that. We asked you, we gave you a warning. And you don't have to leave. You just abide by the rules. That's all we're asking, respectfully. We respect you. When you're talking on the podium, nobody is interrupting you. Nobody. I don't see nobody. Yes, please. Yes, that is the protocol. That is the protocol. And I'm sorry, but we have to maintain order. And you guys are recording, so you should know what is happening. Nobody's interrupting people.
John.
Greetings again. My name is John Chamberlain. I am your Kings County Fire Chief. I was appointed to the position a couple weeks ago, started 4 days ago. Some familiar faces in the room. Some people who were not here last night and didn't get a chance to meet me. So welcome, thank you. And I've been very welcomed. I appreciate that. Everybody's been very hospitable. That being said, reference, no disrespect to the dozer operator gentleman. As a type 2 safety officer, I've been out on 2 separate rollovers of seasoned 10+ year fire heavy equipment operator dozer rollovers. They literally rolled a piece of equipment over and almost killed themselves. These are people that are trained to do that. They've gone through the academy. They moved a lot of dirt, side hill, stuff like that. I would implore you that in the event that you do go down this line, please do not sign that. We will not be participating on active line if that dozer is working with us. I'm going to tell you that right now. I will stop that dead in its tracks. We will not participate. I'm going to let you know that. Okay, hard and fast. That's a dead stop for me. Finally, just real quick, Tuesday during the Board of Supervisor meeting, there is going to actually be a study session held by the Board of Supervisors. It's going to air out our side of it from the county side. I'm not political. I'm not getting involved in it other than to maybe a contractual
Anybody online with you?
Steve Hembry.
Good evening, council. I'm Steve Hembry. I live in Avenal all my life. I just have a question. American Ambulance has an exclusive contract for Kings County, I believe Fresno too. If Kings County Fire were to ever leave Avenal, would AMR leave also? Because they're not supporting here, they would go to Kettleman City possibly to support Station 9. It was just an idea and thought. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We cannot answer. Okay.
Juan Plasencia.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or afternoon. I came to this country because my parents brought me here. Okay, I'm going to tell you about my history. I came here since 1998.
Can you please get
I've been here
closer
since
to the
1988.
mic?
I've been here since 1988.
Mhm.
Okay? And the only reason I remember the year is because I came here 2 years before Halloween. All right? My parents got legalized. I became legalized. I joined the United States Marine Corps. And please, I'm refraining myself from cursing because it's the Marine Corps way. But I came back to my town, and it pains me that we see this every day. I'm gonna ask you guys a question. What is a first responder to you guys? Do you live here, sir, in this town?
Yes, I do. We all
Okay.
must live here.
So mostly everybody lives here, right? It's pretty upsetting that since I've been here, a lot of things happen in this town that they don't take care of the people. Sports programs, now the fire department. What is gonna be next? The police department? I'm gonna tell you guys something. I lived in Lemoore, 226 East Hazelwood Apartments. It made national news. My neighbors died, a young couple and their 3 children. I knew them personally because of their parents. What ticked me off is that for some reason, the Lemoore Fire Department couldn't get the call. Hanford, Avenal, Kettleman City, Military Fire Department answered to that call. So what is it gonna take for you guys to get your act together and come to a solution for the fire department and any other programs that you guys have? It angers me because there's rumors about everybody in the city council. I could care less about that, but you guys need to come to a solution to fix this problem or any problem that we have in this town. It's unacceptable, ladies and gentlemen. You're here to make the town better, not make it worse. I hope it's none of your relatives that for some reason there's a fire, they die. I've been in situations that I don't want to remember. And I'm just telling you, every single member, I known him since high school. He graduated a year behind me. Now he has a business. So are you guys gonna act when his business burns and now get a fire department or any of you guys? You guys need to appreciate what this town means. Okay, to finalize, you guys come with better solutions, better programs.
Time is up.
Thank you for your comments and thank you for your service.
That's all the comments.
Do we have any online?
Veronica Aguirre.
Good evening, council. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we do. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Veronica Aguirre, 420 North A Avenue, longtime resident of the community of Avenal. I had some things I wanted to point out, but I just want to address this one first. The new little sentence that you guys added in the number 3 on the agenda, where council asks you to keep your comments concise and positive. And let's see what else. Creative criticism presented with appropriate courtesy is welcome. So are you now oppressing our freedom of speech by trying to control the dialogue of people wanting to come and exercise their concerns? I find that very concerning, because as long as anybody isn't using foul language, nobody is trying to attack you or touch you or do anything like that, you should be able to freely express your concerns. That is the whole reason for public participation. And also, again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to participate per Zoom. I work out of town. I don't make it in time. It's not that I don't want to be there in person. It's just I don't have the ability to be there in person at this time. So I do value that. But I did recognize that the last few times that you've had Zoom meetings, not just in council, but the two public forums, or what do you guys call them, town halls, they didn't address anybody on the Zooms. There was nobody there moderating, and I feel like that's oppressing our right to be able to participate publicly. And I really feel that that undermines the principles of the open government and equal access. And and also, I believe that the community needs to be fully informed of the extra revenue generated by that 1,000 tons per day of waste coming from the closed Chiquita Canyon landfill. That's a significant increase, and it means significant added revenue. I believe the public has the right to know, because that should be allocated towards our public safety. And lastly, I'm just going to say I'm troubled by the actions of certain council members who, instead of listening with an open mind, have gone out into public spaces to actively persuade community members to support measures that many do not feel comfortable with. That's not leadership. That's advocacy with an agenda. Advocacy with an agenda. It undermines trust. Any council member who cannot remain neutral and who is actively working to influence public opinion outside the council chambers should recuse themselves from voting of those measures. The role is to listen and represent the community, not pressure it.
Thank you.
That's it. You're welcome. Thank you.
So we don't have any more? Then no, at this time, we'll close public comment and continue with the meeting. I just would like to direct staff to please, if possible, to answer those questions directly, the ones that were asked, and that way, we don't violate any run up. We're going to item number 4, which is consent calendar. And we have 4A, it is to consider the City of Avenal successor agency approval of minutes for June 12, 2025, which was the special meeting and also the regular meeting. There any question, comments? If not, is there a motion to accept the consent calendar? We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gomez. Is there a second? So we have a motion by Council Member Gomez to approve the consent calendar minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second by Councilmember Hernandez. Angie, roll call, please.
Councilman Reynosa,
Yes.
Councilman Verdugo,
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gomez,
Yes.
Mayor Preciado.
Yes. For the record, it passed 5-0. So we'll go into item number 5, and we have none. That is Mayor and Council Member and item for consideration. So we'll move over into item number 6, and that is activity reports, special presentations, and also committee reports. The very first one, it is our Police Department Activity Report by Cecilio Velasco, Chief of Police.
Good evening, Honorable Council, Mayor, City Manager, Madam Clerks, and great members of the public here today. In regards to leadership and stability, Commander Edward Ridge continues to demonstrate leadership and initiative. He's actively supported coordination efforts with allied agencies and has contributed meaningfully to the staff and development. He helped coordinate a couple of operations we've had that the public may have become aware this past, actually yesterday and the last couple of weeks regarding some shootings that we had in town. Obviously, don't want to discuss the case too much right now, just to maintain the integrity of the cases, but it's our part of our operations to try to resolve those cases and bring them to a resolution. I completed the post-executive development course this past couple of weeks. Was the final session of that course required by post for chiefs of police. And the department continues to uphold high expectations across all ranks, promoting accountability and professional conduct. Department leadership collaborated to develop a projected departmental budget for the coming fiscal year, and that was submitted to our finance department. Internal scouting is underway to fill the remaining sergeant and corporal positions to strengthen supervisory capacity. Recruitment remains ongoing for police officer 1 and 2. Officer Mendez, Martinez, and Lopez, who are funded actually by COPS grants that we successfully obtained, completed their field training program and are now operating as solo officers. Officer Christopher Drake is progressing steadily through his field training phase, and he's currently in phase 1, preparing to transition to phase 2. And today, several of them were receiving TASER training. The department will have 2 full-time officers assigned as detectives beginning next week, who work closely with our property and evidence technician to support complex investigations and evidence processing. As you're well aware, that was our plan as soon as these 3 officers were off of FTO. Officers and community service units members participated in a variety of outreach efforts, including Rotary, Reef Sunset Middle School graduation, and an elder abuse and harassment prevention presentation at the Senior Center. The department is preparing for our upcoming community engagement event on July 1st from 6 to 8 p.m. To tag along with the cruise night over at the theater with our Cops, Kids, and Ice Cream event, where we provide children with ice cream to better engage with them to ensure that we create trust and legitimacy with them. Recruitment for the Avenal Police Explorer programs remains ongoing with efforts to broaden the youth engagement. We, as I mentioned in the past, we already had our first recruitment session after meeting with the Boy Scouts of America to reestablish our Explorers Post. And we already have received several applications, are in the process of getting that program going. The Burn Skip Grant campaign is now officially launched with the programming focused on community wellness, education, and intervention awareness. That was a $277,000 grant that we received for not only the staffing required to complete that grant, the campaign, but also for a brand new police unit vehicle to engage with that campaign. The department continues to experience a downward trend in crime rates. Although we've had some shootings, I will say that in comparison to the county, our Part 1 crimes are actually a lot lower and continue to decrease. 2 major incidents this month were thoroughly investigated and remain open, and those are the shootings I'm speaking of. Although we've made an arrest in one of the cases, obviously the investigation is not closed, it's always ongoing. And we ask any members of the public that if they have additional information, to please contact us at the police department. 2 coordinated operations were conducted, one in collaboration with the Kings County Sheriff's Office SWAT team due to a high threat assessment. And so we're still demonstrating that there's still strong interagency support. The flock safety camera installation is about 20% complete, and that's another project that's paid by COPS grants that we receive yearly. We are currently awaiting the necessary Caltrans permits to proceed with full deployment. My understanding is we have several cameras already in place. As you're well aware, the strategy was to surround the city entrance and exits with those cameras to ensure that we capture any potential information that will lead us to suspects in any type of criminal activity that are either coming into the city and also exiting the city during those crimes. The department has implemented its momentum policing model with the addition of detectives and new investigative technology designed to support proactive crime reduction strategies. We continue to foster a supportive and communicative work environment that prioritizes employee wellness and morale. As I mentioned in the past, that I believe that if we focus on wellness, then that's the type of service we get when they engage with the community. It translates to the community. Officers and staff are encouraged to participate in community events as part of a healthy work-life balance. Leadership maintains regular check-ins with team members to promote wellness, inspire innovation, and sustain a mission-driven culture. On the very last page, you'll see the data for 2025. In finishing off the month of May, we had 873 total calls for service. 456 of those were proactive calls for officer-initiated activity. And we had a total of 13 citations, 4 traffic collisions, and 28 arrests, which is on par with what we've been averaging for the warmer weather months. In June, from June 1st to when the time this report was completed, so far we have 602 calls for service, and we have 289 officer-initiated activities on those calls for service, 30 citations, and 2 traffic collisions so far, and 18 arrests. And that is my report. Are there any questions?
Any questions from council to the chief about his report? Go ahead.
Is there a number of explorers that we have signed in already?
Right now, we have currently 3 applications.
3 applications.
From our first meeting, and we plan on having more. Well, the delay was we wanted to make sure other programs have had Explorer programs without the assistance from the Boy Scouts of America, but the Boy Scouts of America offers some liability insurance along with their membership. So we want to make sure that we are covered in that aspect, and it also offers an actual Explorer post with the Exploring program.
Oh.
So, but we do have 3 applicants so far, and we're still continuing our recruitment efforts.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? I do have a couple.
Yes, sir.
So, your budget, I know, you're going on the 2nd year as a police chief here in Avenal. And I noticed that your budget actually is coming down from last year. to this year, and that's probably because of you personally being able to apply for grants at the state and federal level. And just for transparency, that is something that we were not able to do when we had the deputy sheriffs here, right?
To my understanding, I'm not aware if they did write grants or not and if the city received those at that time. But I do know that I was pretty aggressive when I first came. My first year here, I wrote 7 grants and we were able to obtain 4 of those, I believe. A few were not as large as the other ones, but in my opinion, our strategy has been that any funds that relieve money from the general fund is always helpful. And I mean, that's always been in every department I've worked for. And this year, we also authored a grant, and we actually, I didn't put it on my report, but just because we got the email kind of late, but on June 24th, we were informed, well, previous to that, we were informed that we were awarded a CHP grant for $146,000 that was going to pay for DUI suppression, and it was also going to pay for a brand new police car, fully equipped. And so, it's helpful to get grants. I know that I heard a statement earlier that, we can't really rely on grants. I think maybe, because I'm not too familiar with building facilities, because I know that the cost fluctuates. But as far as for police work, it always helps us, and they are reliable. We're drawing those funds. I believe I complete those report. I manage those grants by completing the reports and drawing the funds into the city accounts. So I mean, and it's pretty consistent. It is paying for the salary of 2 full-time police officers and about 50% shared costs for 3 police officers. So I believe that relieves a little bit of the budget. Yeah.
Okay. The second question is regarding, I know there's a lot of fear in surrounding communities. I believe there was some, I don't know for sure if it was ice or raids in Huron this morning, but I know for a fact that our community also saw SWAT team trucks here in Avenal, but that wasn't in relation to any ice or border patrol raids. Can you kind of tell us the difference, and if you know anything about the Huron incident? Because I
Yeah.
have received a lot of phone calls from concerned Avenal residents about the situation
Yeah.
happening surrounding our communities.
Yeah, yesterday I was checking, obviously it's part of my job to monitor social media, and to see and to gauge the temperature of the community. And, in ensuring that this operation went smoothly and that it didn't raise any of those alarms, I already had I obviously can't communicate what we're doing for officer safety purposes immediately to the city manager. However, I had something prepared right at the moment once we started the operation to immediately notify him so he can notify you folks. So that way, when you get inquiries, you can let those people know that it's a police operation and not an ICE operation. I think I've made efforts to try to speak to the migrant community on many occasions to educate them on the SB 54, on how law enforcement can't cooperate in any civil immigration policies, but we can assist only when it's a serious criminal matter. But no, to answer that, I think we did our due diligence in ensuring that we gauged the community to see if there was any panic over that, because that was one of my concerns, and I was getting ready to put a press release if that was the case. But I think we were able to mitigate that by immediately notifying the city manager, and then he obviously notified you folks.
Yeah.
And I think that was enough. And this morning, I was made aware early in the morning as well about the concerns in Huron, and I think we were able to get an answer right away. And so we learned that it was an actual police operation and not ICE. But to my knowledge, the community so far, hasn't been affected by that recently.
Mhm. And sure.
5. For 5. Not anytime soon. Yes, yes. Yes.
You're welcome. The last question, Chief. I noticed in the last 2 years, we have had a lot of accidents and traffic collisions. And even though they've been going down, but still the numbers are concerning in our small community. And some of them happen, in the early mornings in the early hours of the day. So are you planning, or will it be possible to have I don't know, a class, or maybe talk with the AA club here in Avenal, with Isidro Martinez, and maybe kind of have a class collaborating about how we can reduce these traffic collisions and, DUIs and, the numbers are concerning for a small city.
Yeah, absolutely. We always look at the traffic collisions and try to assess what the primary collision factors are. And then we try to, look for those type of violations that are causing those collisions. Obviously, there is a concern with DUIs. This grant that we've just recently received was for a DUI enforcement, where we can pay officers overtime to come out and do special, saturation details, looking for DUI drivers. So that way we can lower the collisions or lower the DUIs that we're as a deterrent. We're going to have some checkpoints and some saturation details. Yes, but we're always open to collaborating with any organization or any person in order to educate the community in regards to accident prevention and things of that nature. Absolutely.
Yeah, I believe DUI checkpoints are good, but sometimes they're gonna affect people kind of late. So I would like to see some preventive programs that will help our community to understand and abide by the law and do not drive when they're drinking or, under the influence. But just trying to kind of be positive on that situation.
Yes. And just to touch on the residents' statement again, ma'am, although those grants expire, there are always grants available. We just have to go out and get them. But to your point, yes, thank you. Yes. Well, I've been fortunate then. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, for your report, and we'll go to the next item on the agenda. And that is Community Development Activity Report, and I believe we have Joshua. Oh,
Hi, good
Joshua.
evening, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good evening, members of the public and city council members. My name is Tessa Ramirez. I am with city planning staff. The following is a brief summary of our planning and zoning work conducted by our firm for the city of Avenal over the past month. Some of our general items are responding to miscellaneous public and staff inquiries, which includes planning and any zoning issues, as well as the processing of the open gov task, reviewing business license, as well as building permits, as well as address assignments. And we've completed and reviewed several of them, as well as certificate of occupancy permits, again, business licenses. We've responded to and reviewed any inquiries for proposed projects by the public. And on current planning, we do have the Fresno and Kings County boundary change and Avenal annexation, but we will continue to coordinate and discuss with all staff. for our long-range items. We have the housing element for our annual progress report, standard reporting from required by the state annually, as well as coordinating with Kings County on the jurisdictional housing element. And that concludes my report. Are there any comments or questions?
Any comments or questions? Go ahead.
To the current planning here, Fresno County boundary changes, annexation, how is that going? I know we started this quite a while ago, so how's that going?
My colleague Josh McDonald has been in the talks with it with, I believe, Anthony. But as of right now, it's on hold. We still have a lot to discuss and to coordinate on with that. That's pretty much it for now.
Any other questions? Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
So with that, we'll go into item number 3, and that is economic development and also grant writer report. And we have Emily Engelskar online. So she from Chris Company. Go ahead, Emily.
Yes, good evening, council members, Mr. Mayor. So happy to be here this evening to give our report. For the legislative update, the California State Legislature is actively moving through the 2025 legislative session. They're working towards finalizing bills and the state budget ahead of its scheduled adjournment in mid-September. The recently enacted 2025-2026 budget totals $325 billion and reflects the state's continued investment in 4 priorities, including housing, homelessness, education, and public safety. Key provisions include $500 million for homelessness response programs, $500 million in tax incentives to spur affordable housing development, and $300 million to support first-time homebuyers. Additional targeted funding has been directed to teacher training, support for wildfire-affected school districts, and various public safety measures. At the same time, numerous policy proposals are advancing through committee hearings, with notable attention given to bills related to digital equity, college affordability, workforce analytics, and employment standards. On the federal side, Congress remains in session and is working on legislation concerning infrastructure, climate resilience, and appropriations, all of which hold implications for local governments. While no single piece of federal legislation is currently capturing headlines, programs like the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities Initiative continue to present potential funding pathways for cities like Avenal. We are continuing to engage closely with Congressman Valadeo's office to advocate for full federal funding of the $4 million Avenal Water Reliability Project. Our goal is to ensure that this critical infrastructure project is completed and receives the necessary support through the fiscal year 2026 federal appropriations process. On the state level, we maintain regular contact with our legislative representatives and their staff to ensure that Avenal's projects are at the forefront should any discretionary funds become available. As part of our ongoing effort to keep city leadership informed, we produce a bi-weekly update called the Sacramento Snapshot, which highlights key developments in the state legislation relevant to cities. Anthony is currently on the distribution list and receiving these updates. If any members of the City Council would like to be added to this list and receive regular briefings, we would be happy to include them. Just let us know who. And we'll be sure to keep everyone informed on the latest activity from Sacramento. For our economic development update, our team continues to actively promote Avenal as a prime destination for new business development. We are prioritizing outreach to retail and restaurant operators with a particular focus on franchise-based businesses. By working directly with franchise development directors, we introduce them to Avenal's growing market potential and highlight the benefits of investing in our community. Attracting well-known corporate businesses offers multiple advantages. These establishments not only create local employment opportunities, but also draw customers from surrounding areas, increasing foot traffic and overall economic activity. As a result, the city sees increased sales tax revenue, which strengthens the general fund and supports essential services and infrastructure projects. Additionally, many of the franchises we are targeting offer opportunities for local entrepreneurs to become business owners. This approach enables Avenal residents to participate directly in economic growth, keeping more profits within the community. Importantly, the presence of national brands does not detract from the value of our small independent businesses. Increased traffic and visibility often benefit local establishments. Our long-term goal is to cultivate a balanced and thriving economic ecosystem, one where national chains, franchises, and locally owned businesses can coexist and succeed together. Our team has been following up with the numerous representatives we've engaged with at ICSC in Las Vegas last month, including, but not limited to, Popeyes, Chick-fil-A, Raising Cane's, Slim Chickens, and Bojangles, as well as Wendy's, Jack in the Box, McDonald's, Burlington, TJ Maxx, and so many more. Since many of these venues are franchises, we are also updating our community outreach flyer to solicit new franchisees for the city of Avenal. For our grant writing update, a representative from the CRISCOM team does attend biweekly staff meetings to assist with grant administration and to ensure all departments are aware of relevant funding opportunities for their respective projects. We remain committed to identifying and pursuing grant programs that align with the city's goals for infrastructure, safety, recreation, and community development. A few upcoming grant deadlines that might be of interest to the city are the Land and Water Conservation Fund, due August 5th, and the California Violence Intervention and Prevention Grant, due August 18th. Thank you so much for letting me come and give our report this evening. I welcome any questions from the council.
Any questions from council? No. I have a question regarding the Caltrans grants. Our state highways, State Highway 33 and also State Highway 269, which includes Skyline Boulevard, have been deteriorating. It's about time that they do some work on them, especially up in the hills coming down. I was told by Caltrans that they don't have any projects for State Highway 269, that they actually do projects every 10 years. Is there any way possible through CRISCOM that we can push them to actually come and do projects in these two highways before every 10 years? They have it stipulated on their agenda?
And these are owned, Caltrans owned roads?
Yes, they are.
We can certainly reach out to Caltrans and see if we can work with them and see if we can kind of negotiate them to, do some additional work on those roads. I know how important those are for the city, and I know they've been doing work on other roads near the city. So we can certainly put it on our radar and reach out to any contacts we have with Caltrans.
Mm-hmm. State Highway 269 is a major concern because actually it runs through the middle of our town, and we're not able to do any repairs.
Right, exactly. I'll definitely put that on our radar and have John with our office see if he has any contacts with Caltrans, as well as Chuck.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Any other questions? No, I don't see any. Thank you for your report. With that, we'll move over into the next one, which is item 6B, which is presentation reports. We have none. Item number 7, it is public hearings, and we do have to consider a proposed City of Avenal fiscal year 2025-2026 city budget and fees and charges, and we're going to have a staff report before we go into public hearing.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Just for the record, my name is Griselda Price. I'm the Director of Administrative Services. And staff today is bringing to council the proposal of adopting an operating budget. Right now, staff is currently working on reconciling some of the grants as well as some of the revenues and expenditures. In November, we implemented the new utility billing suite that is part of our financing program. So we are obviously constantly checking to see that the data being entered into that software is being translated correctly into the finance. So that's been partial of the delay of having the final budget. We're also reconciling grants and making sure that all of the reimbursements have been made, and also double checking to see that the reimbursements that have been requested have been received. We are also working on finalizing some of the numbers for personnel. We are working on the very last payroll of the fiscal year. So once we have that information and we've reconciled, we're looking at to hopefully having that information done in the next 2 weeks, which during that time, we will also be working with department heads just to go over their proposed budget. With the increase of the fire safety budget increasing, we're obviously looking at where we can have some savings. So that is why we're also going to be meeting with some of our department heads to go over their budget to see where we can find some of those cost savings to make sure that we are able to cover the cost for the fire. As well, we will also like to start meeting with council and doing all of the, just reviewing the fiscal year 24-25 and working into adopting the 25-26 budget. So yes, so that's basically been part, not of the delay, we're just being very meticulous with our numbers and making sure that we have all the data correct before we present it. So with recommendation from staff, we would like to recommend that we adopt an operating budget for the 25-26 fiscal year. Any questions?
Are there any questions before we go into, hold on, before we go into public hearings? And no, only questions from council, not the public. This is the staff report. Any questions about the staff report from council?
Sheila, just a minute.
Yeah, once it goes into public hearing, but I did want to add just one quick thing, Mr. Mayor, before you pass it on to council. Yeah, so this operating budget, it's not, we've done it before, but in the past 2 years, we've had to start with an operating budget. One, because of the reconciling with the old software. We do have everything on OpenGov now. I do have here, I know I got a request from Councilman Verdugo of seeing our current numbers. This is up to May. We'd like to present final numbers, and that's what Griselda was mentioning. In about 2 weeks, we should have final numbers to present on all the actual expenses. We'll have revenues as well. What this does have, though, is kind of the proposed budgets. Hasn't been vetted. I have not had a chance to meet with all department heads and really go through what the requests are. This is kind of their wish list. So as it is, I'll have copies for council, just so then we can have scheduling the budget hearings with council in the next few weeks. This is just to meet the state obligation of having a budget. This operating budget, as like I mentioned, the same as the last 2 years, it's just to meet payroll, it's just to meet the day-to-day expenses. It does not include any major projects, any major purchases. It's just to be able to continue on. And we would hope and expect, given that the software is actually pretty intuitive, we should be able to get something within a month or less. Depends how many budget hearings we have and how quickly we can kind of close the gap, because at least in the proposed budget, we have about a 1.4 million deficit. A lot of things that we can kind of change, move around. There's still some revenues that need to be reviewed. So just so council's aware.
Yes, we also have to consider negotiations with the bargaining units that will be happening tonight in closed session. So that's why the budget is not finalized. It is customary for cities to adopt a operating budget until the final budget is adopted, and I believe we have until October, November to have the final budget.
Anytime, as long as there's some
Oh,
budget that the city.
but there is also deadline according to state law. That I
Just pass
cannot
that out.
pass that.
That's just for your review. Again, they're not final numbers, but it is a proposed for the next fiscal with some of the current expenditures up to May.
We're gonna move into that section next. We're still on staff report. And if council has questions about the staff report, then we'll move into public hearing. Then that's when the public can actually ask questions. I don't see it.
So I don't have enough copies. I can post it on the website. Yeah.
You can take one of these. Sure. So any questions regarding the staff report?
Well, considering that I did ask for this earlier today, and to be able to make a sound decision of this and this, I think, in my opinion, I think we need to, even though when it says here that we need to do it before June 30th, at least to the next city council meeting in July, so I could go over this myself and maybe ask even more questions.
You need to say.
What's questions.
It's not intended as a final budget.
Yeah. But still, I just got, even though I asked for this today, I can make a sound decision and this and this without comparing apples to apples. and
Well,
doing-
yeah, I understand, but what we're voting on tonight is just for the operating budget. That budget has to be adopted by June 30th before the next fiscal year that begins in July 1st. So the next council meeting will be July 10th. It'll be too late to adopt an operating budget. Without an operating budget, the city cannot pay payroll, cannot buy any equipment that they need, cannot operate. So that's the intention of this operating budget. And,
Yeah.
and it was told to the public what is the situation regarding adopting a full budget. As you're aware, the Kings County Fire Department is still on negotiations.
COLA.
All five negotiation personnel units are under negotiation right now. They're asking for increases. So all of this is gonna be discussed tonight. We cannot discuss city business outside of city council meetings. So that's why it's important to do it today. So we're not adopting the full budget.
Right, and as has been noted, and these are the same resolutions and same kind of information. In the event that there's not a full budget, there are resolutions to consider and adopt in order to meet the payroll and operating expenses until the final budget is approved. It's what's been done the past two years. And I believe even before.
So any other discussion from council, so we can move on to the next line on the agenda? So now I will open a public hearing. Any person who may like to comment on this item can come to the podium. Please come to the podium.
Why can't we see your tax
It's right there, they have it.
Need to come to the podium.
Come to the podium. One.
It's okay. That's okay. I am following the rules, sir. I'm not being aggressive. So I'm just asking, like, going on what you said, how come we can't see a report after what you guys discuss on the budget, of the proposed budget? His balances, right?
So it's not final.
Understand it. I'm just trying to understand it.
So I'm letting council know that with a lot of other projects, the town halls we've had, we've not been able to finish the budget. I
Okay,
haven't met
so-
with department heads on what their proposed budgets
Okay,
are
I
and the
understand it,
COLAs.
but as taxpayers, I think we all have a right to see results. Because we all depend on each other. Your payroll, you mentioned something about payroll. Well, we pay taxes. It is your guys' job to figure the numbers, right? You're trying to figure out the numbers to keep our fire department, our police department. I'm gonna mention something that is probably gonna backfire on me, but we really didn't need another park behind the boxing gym. It was not necessary. If it was, you guys could have put those on Rice Park. Make it better. Like I mentioned before, a lot of us grew up in this town, a lot of us live in this town. We have to live here. Whoever doesn't live here, they don't have to live here. A while back
Okay,
ago, I
so-
applied, give me one more moment, please. A while back, about a couple years ago, I applied for a job in the city. I wasn't even called for the interview until I mentioned to a city worker, hey, you guys discriminate against veterans? If you guys do that to veterans, how come you guys do that to the community? Is it a connection? If you don't know, if you have to know somebody? After I made that comment, I got a call. I went for the interview. They asked me a question regarding hazmat. I don't see a hazmat disposal in this town. We have the city dump. Every time the wind kicks that way, I have to smell that. There's income coming on that. There's numbers coming through that. When we dump our trash, we get charged.
We
So
appreciate your.
there's gotta be money
we-
somewhere.
We appreciate your comments, but right now.
still got a
dis-
minute and 50
discussing-
seconds, sir.
We're discussing
I
the
still got a minute
operating
and 15
budget.
sec- or
And you're
in the
going
10.
out of the.
I got a minute
item
now,
two.
sir. You're cutting my time.
You're
You're
this is
giving me
not
time,
public
right?
comment for 3 minutes, NG.
I see a clock there. Right?
Well, please,
So it's your job
stay
to
with
listen
the
to
item
me.
on the
I'm
agenda.
gonna refer to what I asked you earlier. What are first responders to you guys? Nobody answered that question.
During public comments, we're not allowed by state law to answer any questions that are not on the agenda. She read it at the beginning of the meeting. Would you please read it again,
It's just a
NG?
simple question.
Would you please read it again, NG, so he
Why are you
understands?
getting aggravated?
He's gonna read it
No,
to
you're
you
not letting me
again.
talk. This is my time to talk.
Just read it, NG, please.
No,
This
don't
is-
bother, please. Don't bother. Don't bother, please. You're not being,
Okay,
let me rephrase that. You're not doing what you're supposed to do for the
Why?
community. That's all.
Thank you.
It's okay.
So I hope you understand, right now, it's public hearing regarding the budget, not parks, not any other. We're moving away from the agenda. Okay, well, go ahead.
state your name, please.
Ginger Wallace. So again, my question is, how can you move forward with approving this operation budget with less than 24 hours without any of these council members being able to look what you just now presented them with because it was asked for? We came in last council meeting for a budget, a contract sign-in budget. Because it was less than 24 hours, the lawyer hadn't had a time to look at it. We couldn't move forward with it. So as a community member, I ask you not to move forward with this budget. You guys got to give these members, the council members, enough time to look at it. You're presenting this one now.
This is for the full budget that we're not voting on tonight. Okay, we're gonna still continue on the full budget. This one is not gonna be adopted tonight. This one, they receive, every single one of them receive this one.
Okay,
Okay, and this is the one we're gonna adopt, this one.
but in the
Not this
keynote
one.
that Anthony had stated, we need this adapted tonight and approved tonight so you guys can move forward with buying equipment. Thank you.
Water treatment plant, there's equipment here repairs for wastewater treatment plant.
Okay, Time out.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks for opening up the hearing. The council was handed these sheets, which are expenditures. If you're writing out a check, don't you look at the balance of your checking book? You do?
Yes.
Then why didn't any of you guys ask him for that information? When is the budget due? When is it due?
June 30th.
June 30th? Has that changed in the last 20 years?
This is not the first time that the city.
My time.
has adopted.
My time.
You're asking questions, right?
Okay, go ahead.
This is not the first time
Pause.
that any city has been adopted an operated budget. In Avenal is not the only city. Colinga, Huron, Fresno, Vice.
Avenal.
Yes.
I don't care about any of the other cities.
Give
We're,
you-
we're in trouble here. For one thing, you still haven't put the revenue. You still haven't. How can you guys even discuss this? You still haven't put what the city has been receiving in revenue. That's money in.
We,
Who controls that?
Finance Department,
The finance department?
and she just presented it.
Grisella, can you tell me what the current revenue is? Thank you very much. This is a joke.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you.
If you guys vote for this, I don't want to cause anybody payroll, but you got a lot of questions for this guy.
Sheila Verdugo, 208 South Corcoran Avenue. A couple questions. Just first of all, just when did you first receive the budget sheets, right? When did your department heads first receive the budget sheets? So the question is, when they receive it, how long have you been working on a budget, right? That's probably the first question, is how long has this budget been being worked on? Anthony, I guess. How much earlier this month, like a date, like, you know what I mean?
Please, no side conversation.
So, and typically, how long does it take to put a budget together with your department heads? When you sit down with your department heads, and I'm assuming you're doing that correct, right? You are giving them their budgets, they're doing their budgets on their own. Because I know when I was there, sweetheart, I did not do my budget. You did my budget. I've never, so I'm just saying, is the department heads now doing their budgets on their own? And how many meetings have you had with those department heads to date to go over that? Because council normally sits down. How many meetings have you had with your department heads to date since June 9th, right? June 9th. How many times have you each met? You should be meeting with your department heads. They should be going over their budgets with each of you. You need to ask them questions, what they need, why they need it, where the money, why this line item. You're supposed to be asking those questions. Have you had a meeting, Mr. Reynoso, have you had a meeting with the department heads to date?
And that's the exact reason why it's
No,
operating.
I want to
budget.
go around. Mr. Verdugo, have you had a meeting with these department heads, which have been working on their budget, I'm assuming, since June 9th? Mr. Hernandez, have you met with any department heads over this budget? No. Can I get a verbal? Miss Gamez, have you? Mayor Preciado, have you? No, I don't need anything else. I just need a yes or no.
I'm not gonna answer.
That is concerning.
That is not
That is
mandatory.
concerning. No, don't argue with me.
I'm not arguing. I'm
asking
not
you-
arguing.
I just asked you a simple, I just a yes or no. Other than that, it's my time still. Okay? So I'm just saying, you should have already been sitting down,
having these discussions with the city manager and your department heads. And if you haven't, shame on you. Well, first of all, he took up my time. He took up my time. I'm just saying, be thoughtful in what you're supposed to be doing. Be asking these questions. You're not asking any questions. You're just getting the information and going along with it. It is not appropriate and you're not doing your jobs.
Thank you. So we need to get, to clarify this. This is getting at, will you please, very clarify that what's an operated budget is independently from that?
I'm just making clear that in the event that the fiscal, in the event that in the event that the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget is not adopted by June 30th to the 2025, then these following resolutions will need to be considered and adopted in order to meet the payroll operating expenses until a final budget is considered and approved.
So there's still time, and Sheila, you're right. Council needs to have budget hearings. That was mentioned by finance that we'd like to schedule those. The idea is there does need to be a budget approved. As an operating budget doesn't mean it's finalizing anything. It's not approving any special projects, any other equipment. It's just to meet the day-to-day expenses and payroll. This is the same budget that's been presented in the past to council as an operating budget, just to kind of meet what we need. And I don't anticipate going farther than maybe a month.
So why do we do that? Why don't we have something already? It doesn't even have something in place in the city here to knowing that you're not even close to, well, we're 2 weeks, 2 weeks, still 2 weeks out, you know. I don't know. I think it is a big problem.
So it seems that there's a lot of misunderstanding on the item. When I was working in Coalinga for 27 years, the city of Coalinga adopted many operating budgets. Any city has the right to do it when they're not ready to adopt a final budget for the next fiscal year. So you need to understand that if this is not approved by June 30th, the city cannot operate, will not be able to buy anything, will not be able to pay city employees, will not be able to run as a city. And this is legal. To adopt an operated budget is legal in the state of California. It is legal, and also for, and I'll let you talk, so now let me talk, please don't interrupt me. And what you just said is not set in stone that we need to meet personally with every department head. That goes according to staff. You know, there's many ways to adopt a budget. There's many meetings that can be with council and staff and department heads, but not necessarily we need to meet with them on a one-on-one. And if that was the practice before, when you were working, and also would like to say that, you know, things are changing because we need to, right now dealing with a lot of projects in the middle. We're negotiating with all 5 bargaining units. We're gonna be negotiating that tonight. It will be the very first meeting with them about their ask. And it's not gonna be set in stone. We may have 2 or 3 meetings before we agree into a contract with them, all 5 departments. And we're talking about the budget for the next fiscal year. the next fiscal year. So that's why we need to adopt an operating budget, not a final budget. So with that, are there any other,
I need clarification. Councilmember Dugo, do you have a motion on the table?
I'd like to motion that we table this to next meeting. I mean, we just got this. I mean, all this shows us this money that's gonna go out. It doesn't show what we actually, well, now we know what we actually have, but I mean, I think this is something that should have been in the packet before anything else. So I move that we table it to next meeting, but
so see, let me tell you, you did receive this one a
I
few
did.
days ago. Okay, this is what we're voting on, not this one.
yeah, but it would
This
help.
one is for the final budget. This one is for the
I know
final
that.
budget. We're not adopting the final
But
budget
it
tonight.
would be nice to know what you have in your checkbook to say, okay, we have money there to operate this, operating money.
We will have to then call for a special meeting on June 30th, so you have time to read the blue sheet that they gave
To
you
me-
the
to me,
package. And then we will have, and then it's, again, we will have a special meeting on June 30th. So we meet our obligations. Because we cannot go past June 30th before passing an operated budget.
Then we have to
So
have a
if you
meeting.
wanna,
And then if we have to come back before that day, then we have to come back before that day.
So,
Right.
so we have, I would like to make a motion on the table that we can vote on an operating budget tonight. That would be a motion, and a second motion will be by, Councilmember Verdugo to table the whole item. And the city will be on default of meeting their obligations.
So we can be before the 30th. That's what I said. Also,
Well, I would like to see if council second your motion or my motion.
Okay, so there's
two
there
motions.
there are two motions
There's
on
two
the
motions on
table.
the table.
So please, let's be in an orderly fashion. We have two motions on the table. So I'm gonna do roll call. Do we have a second for the motion for the operation budget to be approved?
what was that?
Do we have a motion to proceed with the operation?
Thing,
Before-
because the 30th is already on a Monday. How are we to, have a meeting before then? I suggest, to go ahead and approve the budget, the operating budget. This, Griselda, is this accurate or you still need to, it needs a lot of work? Okay, so within 2 weeks when we meet again, this should be more accurate and we can keep this and
If I may,
look at the revenues.
if I may add, the intent is to have the operating budget and start scheduling those meetings to discuss what the next budget will look
And
like.
if we need to have a special meeting to look at this.
We probably will.
We will.
They'll probably need to have special. That's usually how we've done it. We've met either at City Hall.
Before our next council meeting. We need to meet again.
Yes, so, and I will have to leave it to council when availability. We just asked to get through at least after July.
Rating costs and just
Even,
to,
not so just to clarify, even in 2 weeks or 4 weeks, we may not be able to adopt a final budget. Even in 2 or 3 weeks, we may not be able to adopt a final budget.
That's
If all
fine.
the numbers are finalized, then we can go ahead and do that. But we need to adopt an operated budget before June 30th. Is that understood by everyone? Is that understood by everyone?
Wait, Cups. You had a motion on the floor. It died for lack of a second. Now your motion, now you asked for a motion,
I don't, well.
and
it
then
is on
you
the
guys vote on
agenda.
it, and
This
then
is
you
on
have
the
your
agenda.
operating. I'm just assisting. I'm not being
This is on the
negative.
agenda.
I'm just telling you how Robert's Rules of Orders works.
So she's still, doing her job. Let her
I'll
do her
second
job.
the mayor's.
No, no, she needs to ask for a second. She needs to ask for a motion.
Sorry.
Do I have a second for the operational budget?
I will.
And,
We have a
Mayor
vote
Pro
by.
Tem okay, I'm gonna do roll
Just
call.
on the operating
Yes, ma'am.
budget. This, I like to have a special meeting next week.
Okay, Councilman Reynosa,
Councilwoman Reynosa. Yes.
Councilman Verdugo.
No.
Councilman Hernandez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gomez.
Yes.
Mayor Preciado.
Yes. For the record,
You have to, so the other suggestion would be to continue the public hearing, because this is not the closure of it, since we
No,
still need to work on
yeah.
the budget.
no, we're still gonna go to the other items. So for the record, decided to take action tonight. That's just, we're still not gonna be voting on it yet until we continue. So we're going in the process.
Yes, so the operating budget for the actual city budget, fees and charges, it's like operational budget and continuing the public hearing, correct, Mayor?
But let me get that because it's not easy. There's a lot that we need to agree to what's in here. We're gonna be voting on 4 items.
Three.
Three? Is it 3? I thought I seen.
First is the city's operational budget, and then it's a successor agency, RDA debt obligation. And then it'll be the public financing authority.
Mhm,
So
but,
those are the 3.
yeah, but also more information. We need to let the public know about it. Let me see, where is it at? Okay, so, well, we'll continue, but because we have to announce all these 4 items, that's what we'll be going on. So, okay.
You want me to read the resolution? Is that what you're
No,
asking, Mayor?
No, hold on.
Okay.
Because we still have, so we're on public hearing right now, and because of the concern, you know, we had to decide. There was a motion on the table during public hearings. We died on the table. So I set up another motion and it passed. So we're gonna continue. But now we're gonna take discussion and action, and then we'll approve the resolution. But before we approve the resolution, we gotta read and know what we're approving, which is we found number 1, that the foreign residuals are true. Number 2, that the authority secretary is authorized to continue the PFA's operations. Number 3, that any large or out of scope expenditures be brought before the city council for approval. Number 4, authorize the secretary or city manager or city clerk and all relevant staff to carry out the terms and conditions of this resolution and to take all steps reasonable, necessary, proper, and convenient or incidental therefore. So we're approving this on an operating budget. That's why it's so important. The city cannot operate if we don't approve this operating budget before June 30th. So now, are there any other discussion from council? Close public hearing, we'll move into discussion with council. So that will be, is there any,
Sorry, Mayor, for clarification, we're gonna be continuing the public hearing.
yeah, but at least tonight we'll close in public hearing tonight, and but continue on the next one, right?
Continuing the public hearing.
Because we're closing public hearing for tonight, but we'll continue public hearing on the next council meetings when we will bring this item back into consideration. They will open public hearing again. And maybe 1 more meeting, 2 more meetings, we don't know now how many more meetings it's gonna take to get all the information, get the final budget ready and prepared and approved by council. And before that, also council has to get all that information, read it, and ask questions during the meeting
And yeah, and there is a comment from staff that Scott would like to just say something briefly.
Go ahead, Scott.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. I've been here for 23 years, just barely a little longer than Sheila. She knows also there has been multiple times in 23 years we have adopted an operating budget, and everybody damn well knows that our checking account can cover it. So if you're asking for numbers, you should have asked this a week ago. Council meeting is not the time for our city council to sit and argue about numbers and everything else. You should have asked this if it was Monday when you got the packet. What are the numbers? Is our checking account good? I've watched this for way too damn long, and you guys are acting like assholes.
In Verdugo got it, please, and Mr. Verdugo got this information Monday. He
No, I
got
didn't.
it Monday.
No, I didn't.
He
No, I-
got it
No, I
Monday,
didn't.
online, online?
No, I didn't.
Oh, maybe you were on vacation,
Doesn't matter if I was on vacation or not.
so.
Doesn't
When-
doesn't matter if I was on
well,
vacation or not.
Just
So
one last
I
thing.
didn't get it until after I asked for it. I wasn't even gonna get it unless I asked for it.
the agenda,
He's talking about the new.
he's saying he didn't, okay, let's clarify that. Mr. Councilman Verdugo is saying he didn't get anything until he asked for it?
I asked for it.
So
Well,
the agenda was
um,
posted on Monday. The full packet was not finalized until Wednesday morning. That is true.
So
I
you.
did provide you a physical copy today.
Our copy today, but he did get it. When did you
Yeah.
post it to the council? The,
Wednesday. So just to one point as well, we do provide our cash summary. This is from last month. So this does give you our opening balance, and if anything's actually gone up because end of the year we're starting to see a lot of our grants, reimbursements, drawdowns. Yeah. Cash summary is just, again, this shows all the bank activity, the check register. So this is provided. It is in our council packet. This is from the April 2025 meeting. So
I also would like to say that I understand that we have two new council members, that this is their first year approving a budget, and they're not aware of operating budget and a final budget. So that also makes a difference because they're not aware of, what we're doing here is not easy. You have to do a lot of reading, you have to get involved and look at the numbers and ask questions and not just approve it. Like in now that people are trying to say that they can do a better job, it's obvious that it's not easy. It's difficult. We have to go to the whole protocol and step by step, and they're set in stone. That's why we have legal counsel that will tell us if we're doing something improperly. So this is never gonna end. It will go back and forth. So go ahead and please come to the podium and state your name again. Because we had already closed the public hearing. So I don't see why we cannot continue with this.
Because what just happened and that you guys did not speak to your employee and let him speak to your community like that. I want to know, is there a proper procedure to put a grievance in for that? That is unacceptable. He
employee did
should
you-
never, Scott Davis, right now, you didn't hear his comments? You didn't hear him call this group of people, and I felt like it was kind of towards me.
So I'll
Called
just,
him and I need you to not speak. I'm speaking
That
to the
was
council.
towards council, Sheila. They're acting like asses.
No, Scott, you directed some things towards me as well, and I don't appreciate it. And I don't
directed
appreciate you
towards
even
you that
saying
you
that to
know this
council.
is, you know this is how this works. We've had
Not a
operating
problem. I
budgets
just want to
when you
know,
were
is there a
here.
grievance process?
And
You
that's
were
all-
here. You've
Is there a
seen
grievance
operating
process? That's
budgets.
all I'm asking. I'm asking in front of the lawyer too, because I want to know what our what we can do or say, or is there
Fine.
anything?
File a
is this just
grievance
the way they
against
want
me.
to speak to people?
Yeah, you can file a grievance. You're still a
Okay.
city employee, right? You
No,
still
I mean, I
receiving-
get a check.
Are you still, you are,
He accepted my resignation on May
but are you
5th.
still receiving a check?
I'm
from the
receiving
city?
a check, yes.
Okay, you're still considered a city employee.
Okay, okay, is that correct?
And I think you're violating
know.
some of the rules.
I just want to know
at
from
this
the lawyer,
time.
what's my? Okay,
So
You
at
don't
this
know?
point, this is turning into more into personnel matters, which is start going into a gray area. There is a complaint, there is a grievance. You can file that with the city clerk. We'll receive it. And at this point, yeah. I would suggest we move on from this and it will be looked into. I can assure that to the community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your understanding, but we need to move on. So now we're gonna move over to discussion action, so approval by resolution. We have a motion on the table and that is a resolution 2025-02.
For the successor agency?
Yeah,
Yeah, successor agency, that would be O2.
so successor agent, do we do one by one or all three?
You can do all three if you'd like
Okay.
one motion to do both item B and C.
Mhm. So,
So these are separate budgets because they're separate in kind of activities that the state requires that are held separately.
let me see, where do I- So do we have a motion to accept the Avenal Successor Agency, also RDA, Debt Obligation Fund and stuff, and continuing the review of the fiscal year 2025 with the budget and also ordinance 2025-2026 budget for the fiscal year of the RDA debt obligation?
And then you want to include also item C for the Public Financing Authority?
And also item C for the public authority resolution that will be public financing authority resolution 2025-03. And that's all we have. That's all we have. So is there a motion?
Can we explain what the debt obligation funds are? Just so they know.
We have two bonds, one which actually will conclude next year. If you recall, at the beginning of the year, we do the ROPS. We have to submit kind of what the debt obligation, what funding we're getting and how we're paying for it goes through the county. One is still 800,000 this year. They'll have a payment about 489,000. And then next year it's still gonna have about 360 or 70,000. The other one, and that one I believe was for the water plant back in the 80s and then early 80s, and then late 80s we had another bond for the curb gutters and sidewalks. Thank you, Angie. That one still has about 2 million left to be paid. That one still has about 9 or 10 years left. Those debt obligations, because they're a bond, that's why we do have to keep a certain amount of money in the bank, a certain amount of money in the LAIF, certain percentage. So those are those obligations. We just have to show that we're meeting those obligations, which we have.
Yeah, I believe that one for the water plant with the 80s was for the construction of the water treatment plant number two. Second plant. So that was like a loan. The city has been paying on it since then, and it will be finalized next year. Will be paid out finally over so many years, over 20 20-some years. So, and without approving this operating budget, the city won't be able to send a payment to that obligation bond. Then the city will inquire into really severe penalties because the city won't be able to make those payments. That's why it's so important to approve the budget before June 30th. And I know Mr. Verdugo
Can
knows.
you explain
he's
public
been
the
here.
financial authority, what that is? That way they know.
So,
We said
Still-
go around. The PFA. In terms of what that's funding.
And honestly, we're supposed to be asking these questions before tonight's meeting. Yesterday, the day before, that way we don't come into extending the meeting with this question that should have been brought up before. And we mentioned it many times. Educate yourself, be informed, read the agenda, and ask your questions before the meeting.
Yeah, so part of the Public Financing Authority is the operational arm or section of the city that can go out and get and incur debt. So if you look, it is actually a pretty small budget. It's just the staffing time and then any obligations for any interest. So that's what it then allows the city to pull bonds and do these other actions. The successor agency, as council may or older council members may recall, was dissolved in 2012, and those were mechanisms used to kind of levy future property taxes on projects. This theater was a project was the last project the city did under the successor agency. So those obligations as well. So different mechanisms that have been used to kind of finance projects for the city, to finance the operations levied either through bonds or through future property taxes that are then obligated until those debts are paid for.
To continue, we're still waiting for a second. I made a motion to approve the operating budget as presented, and we're still waiting for a second motion.
I second.
A second by Councilmember Reynosa. Angie, roll call, please.
Councilmember Reynosa,
Yes.
Councilmember Verdugo,
Was this for its B and C? you're talking about?
yes.
Yes, on that one.
Councilman Hernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gomez, Mayor Preciado.
Yes, for the record, it passed 5-0. Operating budget. With that, we'll go into item number 8, which is all business, a SRO agreement with Ritz-Sassen Anna School District, and I believe Mr. Lopez will give any updates on this.
I'm sorry.
All right, thank you, Honorable Mayor, City Council member. So I don't have too much to report on this item. We've used it just to kind of update on the discussions and collaborations with the school district. As the city and community knows, we are collaborating on the pool. And we did just get an agreement sent to us yesterday. Yes. I have not had a chance to fully review it. I believe the price tag though is between 35 to 40,000 for the open hours. So that is something I'm told is still open for negotiation. So I need to schedule some time with Superintendent Reese to kind of go over those total costs. I know finance looked in the past, the city would typically give a contribution of about 10 to 15,000 to keeping the pool open, doing maintenance and allowing it to be free to the public. I think the city at some points would then sell concessions as well, just to at least recoup some cost. So that's something I need to schedule some time with Superintendent Reese on. On the other subject, I was unable to attend their meeting on Monday, and I believe they had a meeting today. Yes, I believe they were considering using some of their funds. We had requested to collaborate with them on using funds for after-school activities. We submitted a proposal per their request with some of the ideas we had.
They told, at least I was told in advance, that they would be continuing using RAP to do some of those after-school programs or sports. Not heard back on the rest of the proposal, since we were also proposing doing things at the rec center, at the Veterans Hall, utilizing the sports complex, utilizing other facilities, and in the future, utilizing the community center as well. So that's, again, we had a meeting scheduled this past Monday that was canceled. So I know with there being on a summer schedule, and school being off, not all the administrators are on at the same time. So that's made meeting with their cabinet or their team a little difficult. But I do intend to continue reaching out to Superintendent Reeves and see how we can continue the collaboration.
Any questions about the report? No? Thank you. And with that, we'll go to the next item of the agenda.
And before, Mr. Mayor, before we move on to number 9, there was something I did forget to include at the top of the meeting. I did mention this to council earlier, but we would like to introduce, if council allows it, an emergency item. This was brought to our attention yesterday afternoon by City Engineer Javier Andrade. It's to consider approving a list of projects for SB1, the Total Repair and Accountability Act of 2017. Staff is requesting that we add it as emergency item and have it as 9B. There is a copy before you. It is in the online packet as well. And I do believe Javier is online to consider it. We continue with the order 9A, which is next item, but we would need a council vote to add item 9B, which would be adopt resolution 2025-34, approving the list of project for fiscal year 2025-26 for the, to be funded by SB1, the Road and Repair and Accountability Act of 2017.
Okay. So is there a motion to add item 9B to the agenda? And I believe resolution 2025-34.
For discussion.
For discussion. We have a motion by Councilmember Verdugo. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilmember Reynosa. Angie, roll call, please.
Councilman Reynosa,
Yes.
Councilman Verdugo,
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gomez, Mayor Preciado.
Yes. So it passed, added item 9B to the agenda and with a vote of 9B. And with a vote of 5-0. With that, we'll go into 9A, which is new business, and this is the recognition and adoption of Kings County Fire Ordinance number 713, and also Fire Hazard Severity Day. And I believe we'll have discussion, and I believe take it over.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. My name is Blake Adney. I'm the fire marshal with the Kings County Fire Department. So today, like you mentioned before, we're here to adopt or requesting your approval to adopt the resolution of the Fire Prevention and Protection Ordinance in Kings County. Quick overview. We've been here a while, so I'll do my best. We have quite a bit of information, but I'll do my best to give you guys cliff notes as long as we're being fully transparent. The fire department is requesting the adoption of this resolution, recognizing the Kings County Code Ordinance 713 to accurately represent the safety of the citizens, community members, and any person passing through the city of Avenal. These changes also include adoption of the new fire hazard severity zones, which is required by the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection pursuant to Government Code 51178. This adoption for the fire hazard severity zones must be reported to the State Fire Marshal's Office by July 7th, 2025. I've already have an account with them and will report that. So our recommendation, once again, is to adopt the resolution to recognize Kings County Ordinance 713 of the County Code. Fiscal impact, there is no fiscal impact to the city or the fire department budget. However, some proposed changes to the fire ordinance indicates the ability for expense recovery on certain types of incidents and if deemed necessary. So quick background. Currently, the city of Avenal recognizes the Kings County Code as it relates to Chapter 10. And that's the fire prevention stuff. On May 20th, the Board of Supervisors adopted Ordinance 713, which is an updated version of this chapter outlining several fire prevention and protection regulations. A summary of each new article is provided below. In short, we made quite a few updates to our ordinances, and that's what this is for. Article 1 in general. So the main purpose of this article is the adoption of the California Fire Code and its appendices. This is required to use the California Fire Code, and we adopt it every 3 years when there's a new iteration. So we did adopt that. Article 2, abatement of weeds and flammable waste materials. This is what people know as weed abatements or hazard abatements. There have been no changes to this article, and will read exactly as it did before. Due to the number of changes in Chapter 10 as a whole, it was determined this was the best to repeal that article and then reenact it during this ordinance update process. Article 3, expense recovery. The fire department participates in a multi-agency regional hazardous materials team. This allows all agencies involved to pool resources together and share the cost required to maintain the equipment that this team needs. Per Health and Safety Code 13009.6, the fire department may seek reimbursement for responses to hazmat incidents. Article 3 outlines this process, and the intention of Article 3 is to help offset these costs used in these reimbursement methods when applicable. Article 4, fireworks. This article outlines the definition of safe and sane fireworks as well as illegal fireworks. It also includes the regulation and instructions for fireworks booths. And lastly, this article outlines the process for administrative citations relating to fireworks. That was 4 and 5, I apologize. Article 6, burning within Kings County jurisdiction. This article defines the burning regulations within Kings County, and we reestablished our legal burning ordinance and the ability to write citations when deemed necessary. Article 7, adoption of fire hazard severity zones. So this is a new one. This is a big reason we had to make some major updates on our end. The California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, pursuant to Government Code 51178, established certain portions of the local responsibility area as moderate, high, and very high fire hazard severity zones. Within these designations, certain construction and general fire safety regulations apply. The fire department received maps from the state that defined the affected areas on March 10th, 2025. On April 1st, 2025, the fire department put those maps and corresponding information out for a 30-day public comment period. And that public comment period has since expired, and the fire department did not receive any comments from the public. Currently, moderate and high designations exist within the Avenal and Kettleman city areas of the LRA. Because of this, the fire department is required to adopt and recognize the fire hazard severity zone maps and follow the established guidelines. Yep, we got the maps right there. So as you guys will see, I don't know if you can zoom in any closer. There we go, perfect. So the areas affected in the city of Avenal, as you can see, are right there lined out on the maps. The light yellow color is, let me make sure I get this right, moderate, and then the dark, more orange is considered high. Luckily in Kings County, in the LRA, we don't have any very high. If you go out to the hills over this way, it gets very high, but that's in the SRA, state responsibility area. So with these requirements, areas that are in the high hazard severity zones must have a hazard disclosure statement anytime real estate is sold, and all new construction must follow Chapter 7A of the California Building Code beginning January of 2026. Chapter 7A of the California Building Code, specifically the materials and construction methods for exterior wildfire exposure section, establishes requirements for building materials and construction methods to protect structures in areas at risk of wildfires. It focuses on preventing the intrusion of flames and burning embers into buildings. This chapter applies to new buildings and additions, alterations, or repairs made to existing buildings located within the wildland urban interface fire area. For areas in the moderate hazard severity zones, no action is required from the county or city other than recognizing these state maps and adopting this ordinance. So in short, the state came out, and this is to be used in general for emergency planning. And the state came out and they used wind models, past fire behavior models, and came up with these maps. We didn't have a choice. We didn't choose the maps, and we can't change the maps. We can make them more severe, but we can't make them any less severe. And our biggest requirement, luckily in Kings County, is mostly just to adopt and recognize the maps. Anybody can look for the maps on the Kings County website. If you go to the community development section and go to the map, and then you just make sure you collect the correct filter, but it'll bring up those maps if anybody's concerned of where their house is within that area. There's also these PDF formats from the state, but I like the other one because you can zoom in specifically where your residence is. Article 8, administrative citations and liens. So this article was added to clearly define and give the fire department a guiding document on the issuance of administrative citations. This will ensure consistency and clarity when dealing with the public. These citations are not designed to supplement fire department revenue, but rather to help gain compliance with life safety concerns that need to be corrected. That is all I have, and I'm here to answer any questions if you guys have any.
Thank you. And first of all, we'd like to apologize for extending the meeting with side conversations, but I know your time is valuable, especially having a lot of officers here. Can you go back to the map? I just had a question about the map because I think the way they faded the colors, it doesn't really apply to the Fresno County. They should be on the same designation, right? Can you more the other one?
The other one?
Yeah. That one there, where we see the bright orange and stops at the Fresno County line to the northwest. But there should be also the bright orange color, right? Or not?
Yes, they are. This is a map specifically for the city of Avenal. This is a map we received from the state for the city of Avenal. If you would like, Anthony, we could pull up, if you go to the county website, we can pull up the full map and it might give a little more of a clear picture.
Also, you mentioned something regarding illegal fireworks citations. Is Kings County Fire Department actually doing citation for illegal fireworks countywide or citywide, or how's that working out?
Yes, countywide, on the 4th of July, we always up staff, and that's it. The illegal fireworks isn't only for the 4th of July. We just deal with them the most during that time. But we get them, and there's many different things. There's people that sell illegal fireworks. It's not all about just lighting them. But it reestablished and we updated our fines to meet state standards. Because anytime we collect illegal fireworks, we have to also pay the state to get rid of them. So that's what the fines, one of the reasons what the fines are for. But we will be out. We will be out looking. At the same time, emergency calls are our first priority on that night. And the sheriff's department helps a lot. Avenal Police Department, I'm sure, will be out and looking for stuff. And we're always around and available to help work on the legal process of dealing with those fireworks.
The reason I ask, because I know that some cities are increasing their fines for illegal fireworks from $1,000 to $2,000 to decrease the amount of illegal fireworks. But I don't know if that's the case in Kings County.
We're working on that, but the fee schedule for the next fiscal years hasn't been completed yet. So we're just going off of our old fine, and the fine that we have is $1,500. So we are planning on increasing them, keeping up with every other agency around, but that's what we have right now.
Okay, yeah, because the way we also aware, and also we can make our community aware that the fines are not low.
No, and I'll say this, look, it's $1,500 for something under 25 pounds of fireworks. Once you go over 25 pounds of fireworks, you start getting into major government code violations, looking at jail time, fines, 10,000, 50,000, and that's completely out of our hands. That's big time stuff. So definitely that's the fine of possessing the firework. Now, that's a whole different ballgame. If somebody uses an illegal firework and starts a fire, that's arson. So there's multiple fines there and jail time to be had. So I would recommend to anybody listening and your community to use safe and sane fireworks. We support the 4th of July. We support family time, but do it safely, please.
Thank you. So that's the map?
That's the online.
That's not it. Do you want me to tell you where it is real quick?
Or which map?
If you go to the Kings County website, yep, you got it. Okay, go to the departments tab on the top.
Right there. I'm on the page.
Yep, I see it. Yeah, so go to the departments tab on the very top, then go to community development. It's third column to the right, and then down a little bit. And then go to the left where it says GIS and mapping. few steps to get there. And then select the link. There we go. And then y'all click agree. And on the top right of this map in the green bar, the filters, yeah, scroll down as close to the bottom. There's going to be fire hazard severity zone local and fire hazard severity zone state. You could click them both. So it's kind of, this map's kind of confusing. It shows your city boundary as orange also. You could probably delete that if you wanted. Take off the city boundary. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So as you can see where the fire hazard severity zones are, that stuff to the south, southwest of the city, that's all SRA out there. You can see Fresno County also in their LRA has high and very high, or high and moderate. But this map, you can zoom into, once again, a specific residence and see where exactly your property falls in place. Some properties, and you'll see some property lines are a mix of both. We chose to just let this be. We have the ability to make it more severe for some properties if both zones go between your property lines, but we chose to let it sit as the state provided it to us.
The orange is the outskirts of Avenal, or is it the mountain area? What are we looking at?
So yeah, you're looking at the kind of the northeast side of town. You can see there's several residences that are affected by this fire hazard severity zone, and then also in the mountain area. Mostly that's where it is. It's just their proximity of the houses to the mountains and the normal winds that are out there is where the state came up with their, and then obviously past incidents and other things that have happened over the years. That's where they came up with the maps.
Can something be done to declassify some of those areas for high density fire?
No. So no, you cannot. And I had multiple phone calls with the state fire marshal's office. There is nothing that we can do to make it any less. We can make it more stringent. So we could say, we want to say the whole city of Avenal is a high hazard severity zone, but you cannot make it any less. This is done by the state of California.
But what if you create a safe zone with a bulldozer, perimeter that is close to the city and get rid of the dry, weeds and debris, and can you make it safer that way? It's like for insurance purposes, you're supposed to have 100 feet of clearance around your house.
Correct.
For fire protection. That can be applied to this area too. I feel like that could be done.
So currently this, the 100-foot requirement is not a requirement for moderate and high fire hazard severity zones. If we lived in the red, which is very high, it would be a requirement. Currently it's not. Now, if you, for example, what it sounds like you're saying is if we went in there and put a huge dozer line across or made a huge clearing, excuse me, we can do that all day long. The state, it doesn't make a difference because that's the way that they made it.
So it will be effective for the security or the community or residents close by, but not regarding the state declassifying the high risk zone, right? But it still be a safety issue that can be done for those residents that are living.
I think anytime that you're next to the wildland, of course, there's a safety issue. People want to live in the mountains. Mountains are beautiful. People want to live in beautiful places. And there's a little more risk to that. But
no, I'm specifically about the residents that you said are real close to the high density zone, like in Avenal, like
yes,
on the southeast part.
Okay.
Yeah. The orange, not the yellow, but the orange ones.
Yeah, I would say, of my experience in working in this county, talking with other members of our fire department, the state recognizes these areas as high and moderate higher fire hazard severity zones. But the community has always done well. Our fire department has always done well of keeping fires out of there. One thing that we have a benefit here, which I hate to say it, we don't get a whole bunch of water, so that grass is
Not too high.
yeah, it's not always the best, and that's a benefit for the citizens that are close to it. This is what the state used their computer models and found out. I can tell you from experience, all those areas, they are obviously a higher risk than in the middle of the city, but every year with our pre-planning of the fire department and training, other actions that we take and go and check on these areas, I don't foresee any major issues to the citizens.
Yeah, I believe it's just a personal or safety issue. Because I did see about 3-4 weeks ago, the Avenal State Prison was doing controlled fire burning
Yes,
around their.
we were
prison.
doing that.
Oh, you guys were doing it.
Yes.
So that kind of worked really good because that, the way I see it, our community should have some kind of a clearance
A
also.
clearance, yes.
Because when there's a fire on the hills and it's coming this way, we have that fire protection in the hills surrounding, let's say, 1,000 feet from the closest house in our city limits. I think that'll be a huge benefit to our residents.
So there are always things that we can do for fire hardening. There's a thing called Firewise Communities with the state of California, that a community can do certain things and help their area. Within the Kings County Fire Department, we're always looking for areas to train too. And for us to train with real live fire is pretty rare. If that's something the city is interested in and clearing some areas with fire, that's definitely something we can look into. We have the people that can put on those kind of trainings and do that and clear some areas. I would say for any resident, obviously, just to make sure you keep much of a defensible space as you can and not let the grass get overgrown.
Yeah. No, I think like you mentioned, maybe that'll be a future conversation to have, to see how we can improve
Yeah,
our safety zone.
we would
in-
absolutely love that.
See.
We would love that.
Yeah. Any other questions?
And more than available to assist with that.
Looks like we have one from.
From what I understand, this all got brought out by a lot of the wildfires that have been out there, and the insurance companies were requesting some of this stuff to be done, right?
Okay, so there is a letter. I do not remember his exact name, and I did not bring the letter, but it's from the California Insurance State Commissioner. And the letter is stating, because this is the big contention with this, the letter from him states that insurance companies do not use this for insurance. So that's about all I can provide for you. They're not saying that your insurance won't go up, but I don't think anything would happen anytime soon because we have Avenal, it's important to us because our community. However, this is the entire state of California. So they want to be very careful on what they're doing. They could have some major impacts if they started requiring certain things or using this for insurance reasons. But as of right now, they're saying the insurance companies do not use these maps.
Any other questions for the fire marshal? Well, Tony, you want to continue with the presentation?
Yeah, let me
Let's see
change
what
it over.
Mhm. So
Right, so thank you.
we'll take action. now.
Yes.
So we have a
So there is a
resolution.
That's why I'd explain it very briefly.
Go ahead.
So there's a resolution to recognize the Kings County's ordinance and the new maps. I did speak to City Attorney Moses Diaz earlier today. And it is included here in the resolution is that while we are recognizing and adopting a resolution to recognize the map and the ordinance by the county, the city will have to adopt its own ordinance recognizing all these items as well. So for now, this will suffice, but we will need to also update it because I believe our ordinance recognizes Fire Code 1989, 81, 91.
91.
Yeah, so this is an area that needs some updating regardless. But for now, this does suffice. We will recognize and follow through the same procedure that the county has. It's kind of just does it a little faster because an ordinance will require a first and a second reading. But we will prepare those at a future meeting.
Okay.
And just to be clear, with the ordinance itself, it allows us as, I'm fire marshal for Kings County, but obviously with our contract, I'm the fire marshal for you guys. So for us to be able to use the fire code and everything else in the city, we do have to have some type of resolution or ordinance, so.
Okay. This being so new, I know the Kings County EOS department is gonna have some kind of training class in the near future. They're gonna be talking about anything about this new.
I'm sorry, the EOS?
Yeah, I believe they're having a 4-hour class, training class, EOS.
Oh, yes, okay.
EOS, yeah. So I think in the next 2 weeks, next week or the following week, I think they're
Okay.
having some kind of, they're gonna be talking about also this new implementation.
Yes, I don't know if this will be on the presentation. However, I will say that they're under our fire department and we work hand in hand with them. So they work on a lot of emergency preparedness things. OES is actually the ones that helped us create our webpage for this, and they did a lot. So they're very well aware of it, and we'll be working together for this stuff.
Yeah, because I believe cities were invited to that presentation, so I don't know if they're gonna be, maybe the chief can tell us something.
Yeah, so Office of Emergency Services falls under the county fire department. There is an exercise coming up, I believe it's July 14th. Basically, it's a tabletop exercise. What it's for is to exercise emergency planning and what's already in place, and then actually review what your processes are in relation to the county if in the event that UOC has stood up and there's actually a disaster. That is absolutely not directly related to this ordinance, but that is something that we do on an annual basis as part of EMPG, which is Emergency Preparedness Grants. Okay, so basically we're funded to help do that. EOC, Emergency Operations, basically through Office of Emergency Services, has a lot of grant opportunities, and that's how we're able to write a lot of different policies and procedures. And that's what gets you, ultimately, we exercise those plans. That's what gets you your cost recovery in the event of a disaster. So the flood that occurred, basically, we're still working on that. And that was in 2023. We're still working on that, but that's how we're ultimately going to be able to recover the dollars for the county and make the road repairs that we need. So that's what that type of exercise is for.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. So, John, so.
Excellent. Yeah, so at this time, we are asking council to consider adopting resolution 2025-33. Typo on the agenda, it should be 33, not 32.
No, it says 34. On the agenda it says 34.
At 32, it's item 9A. This 32 would be the operating budget. This would be 33.
Okay. So, is there a motion from council to adopt resolution 2025-33?
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilman Verdugo and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Gomez. Roll call, please.
Councilman Reynosa?
Yes.
Councilman Verdugo?
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gomez? Mayor Preciado?
Yes. So for the record, it passed with 5-0. So the other one counts hand to hand, 9B.
Yes.
So now we'll add the emergency item. So do you want to present that one too?
I believe Javier is also on the line.
Javier?
Yeah. Good evening, Council Mayor. Javier Andrade here. Yeah, I apologize for bringing this last minute, but it's required to be submitted before the end of the month. And what this is it's pretty simple. It's just for SB1 funding, the state requires us to submit a resolution along with the reporting, talking about how we're going to use the funds and what we've been doing. We've been banking it up, SB1, as we know, for the cutoff. So in the description there, the background, we're talking about how we're going to use the funds and we're talking about that. Essentially, we're banking it up to try to accomplish our cutoff road rehabilitation. Right now, we're hoping to do the grind and overlay section next year. With gas prices going up and down, we're really close to being able to afford it. So I'm hoping that we can do this next year, unless we have something crazy that goes on with the gas prices which affects the cost of asphalt.
Any questions? Are you done with the presentation? No.
Yeah.
Or did we lose him? Still online? Are you there, Javier?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I couldn't hear. If there's any questions, essentially, staff recommends the city council of Avenal to adopt resolution 2025-34, approving the list of projects for fiscal year 25-26 to be funded by SB1 Road Repair and Accountability Act.
Thank you. Are there any questions, comments, or a motion to approve resolution 2025-34?
Motion. Motion.
So we have a motion by Councilmember Reynosa. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Hernandez. Angie, roll call, please.
Councilman Reynosa,
Yes.
Councilman Verdugo,
Yeah.
Councilman Hernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gomez, Mayor Preciado.
Yes, thank you. So for the record, it passed 5-0. Javier, once you're online, can you give us a little update with the Avenal cutoff work that they did that was free of charge to the city due to warranty repair work?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so as you know, last year we did a chip seal, and we also did some grinding on the areas where the wheel path is of the vehicles, where we had a lot of the potholes forming. So the grinding helped fix the under layment of the asphalt. We were able to put a structural section, but we also did a chip seal, which essentially seals the road and extends the life by at least a few more years. Essentially, what we're doing with the chip seals, we're sealing all the cracks so that when winter came around, all that water didn't go into the cracks and create more potholes and start destroying a road even more. So with that seal, that kind of gets us here to where we can keep banking our funds, so to have a bigger project and afford the rehab. So when they did the seal, it didn't adhere properly to the new asphalt that was put in there for the areas that was grinded out, and that happens here or there depending on the temperature of the day, and it was getting colder. And there's a few other factors, but luckily the contractor was very honest and said, "Hey, look, let me come back next year, where the seal didn't adhere properly. I'll come back when it's hot, and I'll reseal it. All the areas that you can see, you probably noticed the rocks were kind of coming off of the seal. So those are the areas he came back under warranty, and he did it for free, which I'm really thankful for them for doing that."
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for the report. So with that, we'll move over into our next item. Actually, we'll be going into, after item 10, we'll be going into closed session and we'll be reporting, if there anything to report out of closed session, we'll be doing so. But for now, we'll go into item 10, which is correspondence.
No
Yes, sir.
correspondence at this time.
No. Announcements,
No announcements at this time.
closing comments from city deputy clerk, city clerk.
None at this time.
No closing comments.
And closing comments by our city manager.
Of course. Thank you, honorable mayors. I'll keep it brief. Just want to remind everyone about the city's Independence Day celebration happening this Saturday. That will be starting 6 p.m. at Rice Park. Hope everyone can make it. We do anticipate having quite a number of vendors, have a lot of fun activities. You'll see a lot of city staff trying to just promote a lot of good community and goodwill. So hopefully everyone can come out. It'll be fun. A lot of it will be free. Just the food, right? But the activities, there you go. So hope everyone can make it. Otherwise, again, appreciate for a speedy meeting. I know some things get a little difficult and tense, but as a community, we do try to stay together and try to move things forward as much as possible. Not everything and every process is how everyone would like to see it happen, but we are working on, continuing to go step by step with everything, just like with the budget. We will be having budget hearings. We'll coordinate with council on when to have those meetings. per everyone's availability and try to have those as soon as possible. I know finance has just been super swamped, just closing out the books, trying to get all the reimbursements, drawdowns, just like you saw with our city engineer as well, trying to ensure that we're going to be getting all those funds into the city. So again, thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you. And any closing comment by legal counsel? No, thank you. We'll go to Member Reynosa. Do you have any closing comments? Closing comments by Councilmember Verdugo
No, thank you.
and closing comments by Councilmember Hernandez.
Yes, I just want to welcome the interns. I also want to thank the community members for showing up to our meeting. And tomorrow at the senior center, there's going to be an elderly abuse seminar. It starts from, I think, from 9 to 12. I wish everybody could make it. And I want to wish everybody a safe and happy 4th of July. That's it.
Actually, on top of that, the seminar they're having, they're gonna have a breakfast for the seniors and everybody's invited. I think it's free. It's a big breakfast from 7 to, well, I don't, yeah, so it's free breakfast tomorrow at the Vets Hall in the senior centers.
Team Commission on Aging have been celebrating Elder Abuse Awareness Month, and they've hosted it in Armona 2 weeks ago. Last week was in Corcoran, and then this week it's in Avenal. Yeah, thank you for reminding me.
Closing comments by Mayor Pro Tem Camas.
I'd just like to say thank you for everyone that came and participated and made their views known. And just have a happy, safe 4th of July.
Thank you. I just wanted to report to council that I've been representing the city at different meetings at the county level. Wednesday, I went to a CART. We're working on the grand opening of the brand new CART building on Lacey Avenue. This is a loan project that a cost that is going to be about $34 million with the funding from former President Biden, Joe Biden, yeah. He actually, the city of the CART, Kings County Rural Area Transit got a grant from the Biden administration for infrastructure projects, and they're already thinking of grand opening December 12th, I believe, December 12th. In the morning, the community of Avenal have been invited. I believe the seniors have been invited to be there present. They're going to have music, food, and some entertainment. It will be a nice addition to the county transportation department. We also elected the new board for the Kings County Association of Governments with Doug Baboon, John Neves being reelected for a second year. And vice chair will be Patricia Matthews, mayor for the city of Lemoore. Planning the San Joaquin Policy Council already working on the Valley Voices trip to Washington, D.C. to lobby the legislators, Congress people, and senators for grants to the state of for our cities in California. There's going to be also, like they mentioned, tomorrow. Actually, we did trying to help our seniors. We took them to Ramona 2 weeks ago, and last week we took them to Corcoran. There was a lot of more people in Ramona than they were in Corcoran, but they didn't have Elvis. That's probably why they didn't have Elvis Presley there. And tomorrow we'll be here in Avenal. Hopefully we'll have people from Ramona, Hanford, and Corcoran also coming over. It's a nice event that it actually lasts about 3-4 hours, but they do raffles, they do free food, and there are also a lot of informational booths. The city is planning to also have a booth there, right, Tony? So looking forward to what was it? We have another event coming soon. I was in a Zoom meeting with Water Education for Latino Leaders. They're planning a trip to Big Clear Lake that to learn about the it's Southern California hydroelectric producing plant up in the Sierra Nevada. It's part in the Sierra Nevada, part of Nevada and California. I believe it's in the middle of the two states. It's going to be a 3-day trip. I'll be joining them. They'll be coming from LA area, but they'll be coming through Fresno. And I was invited because I've been a member from Well since 2010, and I've been attending their conference. The city won't be incurring into any accommodations or fees. It's going to be paid by that organization. So looking forward to learn more about the data. I believe also I attended Diablo Canyon a couple months ago, and I believe Mr. Lopez has been invited to join the tour tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? So you'll be missing the senior.
It's currently right now. I got a few calls a while ago. Should have been in San Luis Obispo a while back, but I'll be making the trek later tonight.
Mhm. The one thing I would like to mention about the Diablo nuclear plant in Avila Beach or in that area, it produces 10% of California electricity. They're working very closely with the governor to extend it was supposed to be closed in 2025, but they got an extension for 5 more years. So they're looking at maybe closing it again in 2030. But I've been participating in some meetings where they're urging elected officials at different levels, supervisors, assembly members, senators, mayors, and any elected that are able to attend to those meetings to urge the governor to keep it open for not only until 2030, they're actually looking at an extension for probably 20 years. But I believe that it is a very safe plant. Security is incredible. It takes you about half an hour just to go through the clearance. There's so much security inside there, and even when you're inside, every department you cannot go in without a escort with a badge and an ID that will open doors for you. So it's a unique plan. I believe it's so close to us, and unfortunately, access is not open most of the times for everybody. But I would like to recommend a visit to it. Well, we'll go into closed session, and we have to report anything. We'll be doing so. And lastly, if my intention was not to be rude when we were interrupting the agenda. I would like to apologize if in any intention anybody felt uncomfortable, but like I mentioned before, we need to conduct city business council meetings, and we like community input, but we have to respect the protocol, the guidelines, and appreciate that. So hopefully we will continue to have community members present, and I will ask our council also to our staff to also provide translation for council meetings, because I believe sometimes we may have 1 or 2 people that don't speak English, and they may need a translation also. So it's important that everybody feels included, and I believe at one time we were paying $100 for an interpreter, but for lack of participation from community, we stopped doing that. But now I see a lot of people coming into our meeting, so I believe we should bring it back. But I think I will let council to consider that option, and that may be another part-time job for a community member that would like to translate. Because at one time our city clerk was translated, but people were saying that she wasn't really translated, that she may be influenced by being a city employee, not be doing the right translation. So we see we may have to pay somebody neutral to translate, so it's not a city employee, so that's something for council to consider in the future. And I believe all all anybody has to do is ask for translation, either English or Spanish. It'll be make available at that request, and also accommodation, wheelchairs, or whatever the case may be. So with that, we'll go into closed session. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you next time.